Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustment. In accordance with this hearing is going to be live streamed on YouTube, so make sure you come to the podium and use the microphone. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment is called to order. The committee considers applications for minor variances, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to create new lots. To ensure a fair and timely hearing, I will vet the agenda to determine which applications can be dealt with immediately and which applications require more in-depth review. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda and ask if anyone other than the agent or the applicant is present in interest and wishes to address the committee. If there are people in interest, the matter will be held until all non-contested applications have been cleared from the agenda. If your item is held, we strongly advise you go outside, meet with both parties, and see if you can address your concerns. If no person of interest is present, the applicant or the agent will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. When addressing the committee, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address, and fill in a decision request card. They're available on the back desk, and leave it with the staff to the right so that you can get a copy of the committee's decision. And if the matter is appealed to TLAB, you'll get a copy of their information. Please ensure you put your email address on the form. First, the applicant or agent will make a presentation to the committee of the application as submitted. Then individuals either in support or opposition to the application will be allowed to speak. If there are several speakers, we'd ask if you can try to appoint a spokesperson, and if you have similar concerns, one person saying them is fine. We don't need to hear the same concern 5 times. People can just say, I'm speaking on behalf of these people, and we share these concerns. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their submission. When all speakers are finished, the applicant has an opportunity to rebut only the related issues that were raised. The matter will then be taken into committee for decision, and this will mark the end of all discussion. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, you may file an appeal. Decisions of the Committee of Adjustment can be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, and information can be found on their website, the TLAB website or the Committee of Adjustment website. And when you get the copy of the decision of this committee, appeal instructions are found at the end. You're only going to get a copy of the committee's decision if you fill out that form that I mentioned to you, so please ensure that you do so if you would like to receive a copy of the decision. Okay, so any declarations of interest, panel member, for the hearing session? No, thank you. Any files to be closed? Any deferral requests that you've received?
Not that I'm aware of for the afternoon.
Okay, thank you. So please note that the committee will not be entertaining extensive revisions to proposals at the hearing today. In this instance, your application will defer to ensure revisions are accurate and that all interested parties are informed of the changes. So I'm going to now vet the agenda. So item number 21, 33 PLAYTER CRESCENT, applicant or agent present? Anyone in interest? Okay. Oh, is there a hand? I'm sorry. Thank you. You're here for PLAYTER? Okay, so if the two of you could link together and have a discussion, so that item will be held. Item number 22, 85 TORRENS Avenue, applicant or agent? Anyone in interest? Thank you. Item number 23. 191 Browning, agent or applicant? Anyone in interest? Item number 24, 96 West LYNN Avenue, agent or applicant? Anyone in interest? Okay, thank you. 25, 38 EASTMOUNT Avenue, agent or applicant? Thank you. Anyone in interest? Okay, if you could connect and have a discussion outside the room. Thank you. Number 26, 120 Virginia Avenue, agent or applicant? Anyone in interest? Okay. Number 27, 26 Amsterdam Avenue, agent or applicant? Thank you. Anyone in interest? Yes, okay. If you could meet and have a discussion. Item number 28, 290 Kenilworth Avenue. Agent or applicant, thank you. Anyone in interest? Okay. 29, 187 WOODMOUNT. Agent or applicant? Okay, anyone in interest? Ma'am, you're standing up behind what item? Oh, okay, you're together? Okay, thank you. Okay, so the items held are number 21, 33 PLAYTER, number 25, 38 EASTMOUNT, and number 27, 26 Amsterdam Avenue. 26 Amsterdam?
They went out of the
They
room
went out.
already. Yeah.
Are you going, you should go with them? Okay. So 38 Eastmount and 26 Amsterdam are held. So we're going to proceed with number 22, 85 Torrens Avenue. The committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, covering letter from Robert Green, agent, a previous decision of the Committee of Adjustment affecting the subject property, staff reports from the Director of Community Planning, Toronto and East York District, a report from the Acting Supervisor, Tree Protection and Plan Review, Urban Forestry, and 4 form letters in support signed by the owners or occupants of 78, 81, 83, and 87 Torrens. Good afternoon, sir. Could we have your name, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Green, Kleinman's Greenlang Architects, and I'm acting on behalf of the owner, Jacques Haché.
Okay.
It is proposed to demolish the existing one-story...
Just a moment. Committee members, do we need a full presentation, or do you wish to proceed with
No, but
questions?
I would like to know if you're making revisions based on the planning report? Or is it
Yes, they
already
were-
revised, so it's okay?
Okay.
They were submitted on the, I forget which date now,
Okay.
on the 26th of March. And I've also got I got a 5th letter of support.
Okay, thank you. You would like a presentation? So if you could proceed with your presentation, please, sir.
It is proposed to demolish the existing one-story house and to construct a new 3-story residence with a total GFA of 177.41 meters squared. It's 1,909 square feet. The lot has an existing area of 243.65 meters squared. The lot's a narrow lot, 5.3 meters by 45.72 meters deep. And the proposed residence will have, the actual house is a narrow house at 3.88 meters wide, 12 feet, 5 inches. Subsequent to our C of A application, I have had constructive discussions with the City of Toronto planner, Kasia Kamiak. The results of these discussions led to modifications to decrease the original proposed height and design modifications to the 3rd floor massing details. The revised building height is now 8.9 meters as opposed to the original 9.9. The 3rd floor is now stepping back at both the front and rear, and there is now a clear visual articulation of these steps on the side elevations. Revised drawings reflecting these changes were submitted to the Committee of Adjustment on March 26, 19. The revised variances are as follows. Citywide bylaw, item number 1, the proposed height is now 8.9 meters, as it was originally 9.9. Item number 2 remains the same. Item number 3 remains the same. And under the East York bylaw, item number 4, the building height is now 8.9 meters. The owners have met with their neighbors, and I've submitted 5 letters in support of the requested variances for 78 Torrens, 80 Torrens, 81 Torrens, 83, and 87 Torrens Avenue, and this list includes both the side neighbors of the proposed house. Based on the proposed revisions, it is my opinion that the requested variances are minor in nature and meet the intent of the official plan and the City of Toronto bylaws. Thank you.
Questions, panel members?
What's the existing front landscaping now?
And percentage-wise?
Yeah.
I don't think I have that in front of me. There's an existing, we're really not modifying that because there's an existing licensed parking pad at the front. So
So this variance would be an existing,
it's really an existing situation. In fact, we based on the modifications that dealing with the planner, because we dropped the house, we now have eliminated the steps up to the house, so we can actually add more planting that's actually that's originally on your application right now.
okay?
Is there any other three-story homes?
There are in the general neighborhood. I don't have those addresses with me, but there are, in the general vicinity, there are 2 or 3 houses, I believe, that are already 3 stories. And in speaking to planning staff, that was never brought up as an issue.
Is the house to the left, is that considered a 3-story? Do you know? The way they measured it?
I don't know. That's we consider it a 3-story house or not.
Yeah, when you're facing it on the left-hand side.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be considered a 3-story or not.
Just looked kind of similar in the way it's set.
Any other questions, panel members? Mr. Carlson, any questions? Okay, thank you. We're in committee, discussion or a motion?
Through you, Madam Chair, based on what I saw in the neighborhood, there are a lot of new homes. These are like little bungalow kind of squished in between higher homes on both sides right now. And it appears the variance for the landscaping is existing, and it could actually be improvement on what's there. So I think that what's being proposed meets the 4 tests. It's in character with the neighborhood. So I would move approval, including if there are no other comments from my colleagues.
I'm leaning toward refusing this. Just seeing the planning report, okay, planning's position seems to be that this is the absolute maximum, but to me, this is pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable. The landscaping is existing. That's not the big one. But the height, to me, 9 meters, whatever planning says, 9 meters is a lot for that area. And then there's an explicit prohibition on that 3rd story, which is really what decides it for me.
Planning is stating that that's kind of the average in the area, 9, which is why they asked them to reduce it. So it's...
I mean, as I said, the thing that really gets me is the height is being used for a purpose that isn't permitted either.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Any comments?
Well, I'll go ahead with my motion and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I would move approval of the application as I feel it does meet the 4 tests with the revisions. And it would include forestry condition number 3 as well as the 3rd condition in the planning report dated March 28th regarding being constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown on drawings SK 07, 10, and 11 that were submitted, or received, I should say, on March 27th by the committee.
Is there a seconder? Okay, your motion fails, so I need another motion.
Fails. I will move refusal of the application as I do not believe it to be within the purpose of the zoning bylaw.
Okay?
Okay, so that's a motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Mr. Russell for refusal of the application. All in favor? I'll abstain.
This end.
So your application is refused.
Okay.
Application number 23, 191 Browning Avenue. The committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, staff reports from the Director of Community Planning, Toronto and East York District, and the Acting Supervisor of Tree Protection and Plan Review, Urban Forestry. May I have your name, please?
David Lang, 2100 Bloor Street West.
Committee members need a presentation, or would you like to proceed to questions?
Questions?
Okay. So questions, please?
What's the existing landscaping in the back?
I'm not totally sure. The rear yard is a large concrete pad right now, which was being completely revised in the proposal. The current plan that you have from March 28th was reflecting the request from planning to create 25% landscaping. I'm not sure, just to clarify, that you have that plan?
So you're then amending the variance request then?
Yep.
Okay, so instead of 50%, you're asking for 25%?
Yeah, I have this was sent to the case manager. Would you like a copy of it? I redlined the zoning notes.
Right, but it's not in the notice that went out, so we need you to revise it.
It wasn't in the notice to public hearing, so that's why we,
But we got the staff report.
Yeah, we have the staff report, but we still need,
you to officially tell us that you're,
Okay. Would you like a copy of the plan as well? I have both here.
I think we're okay without that.
All right.
Do you have the meters squared for the 25%?
17.84.
Thank you.
Does that change the 43886?
14. I'm sorry, which one?
So under 43886, what would be the new numbers? Or does it change?
This was done on Friday. I asked the zoning examiner to clarify because I wasn't sure how it was calculated.
Okay,
It doesn't reflect what they were asking for to be adjusted in the backyard.
okay.
Madam Chair, can we ask for him to hold this matter down and you go down and speak to the zoning examiner and come back and let us know what that new, what the bylaw entails in 43886?
I guess I could if I can't find them. Is that a problem?
If you can give it to us now, fine, if not.
Problem is, I'm not quite sure exactly the little definitions on what to include and what not to include. This is not the rear yard calculation, it's the overall. I was going to increase it by the same percentage, but it's actually a totally different area calculation.
Yeah, and the planning staff have mentioned it, but haven't given the numbers.
They were specifically concerned about the soft landscaping in the back, which is item number 1.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I don't think this changes the proposed work. I understand there's a discrepancy with the overall.
so,
I think we need to have.
Yeah, I
So I
understand
think-
what's going on, but we have to fix the discrepancy.
yeah, okay, so,
Somebody named Nelson. They were CC'd. I was waiting to hear from them, but
Yeah, but with the discrepancy,
so
no, understood.
why don't we agree to stand it down while you have a chance?
Sure. I'll go
See if
down.
you can pursue that.
Sure.
And then if you can sort of give us somehow get our attention when you come back, and
Okay.
then we'll go from there.
Great.
Okay? Thank you. Okay, number 24, 96 West Lynn Avenue. Committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, and 2 form letters in support signed by the owners and occupants of 94 and 98 West Lynn Avenue. If we could have your name, please.
Marco Razzolini, agent.
Okay. Committee members, do you need a presentation?
No, I don't.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, any questions
No,
or a
Madam
motion?
Chair. Madam Chair, prepared to move that this, for approval of this application, because I think it's truly minor. It's not contrary to the city attorney bylaw. It meets the protest and
I'll second that.
Okay, so motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Mr. Carlson for approval of the application. All in favor? Your application's approved.
RAZZOLINI.
Then you don't want it?
Anita needed the spell. Number 26, 120 Virginia Avenue. Twenty-six isn't out, is it? Oh, I'm sorry, no,
25 South.
oh, here he is, okay, so.
Afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, panel. My name is Alex Marrero. I'm here representing the owner for 61 Virginia, number 26 on the agenda.
Okay, could you hold on just a moment while I just indicate on the record what's before the committee? Copy of plan of survey, site plan.
Marrero.
Copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Staff report from the Director of Community Planning, Toronto and East York District. And a report from the Acting Supervisor, Tree Protection and Plan Review, Urban Forestry. Thank you, sir. Committee members, do you need a presentation?
No.
Questions? Are we expecting revisions to
Yeah.
this application?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We have the comments
Through those,
from
please.
the planning department. After talking to them, we are prepared to reduce item number 2 from 9.37 meters in height to 9.22.
9.22.
Yes. Item number 4, we are deleting. Then in the new section for the bylaw, in area number 1, it reduces from 9.49 meters to 9.34 meters. And regarding the planning recommendation for item number 3, they are recommending basically not to have any increase in the length of the house, to reduce it to 17 meters, which that's the current bylaw. And I have an issue with the design. I need at least 17.5 meters. And I brought committee decisions before, which you guys or the committee approved up to 19 meters in the same street. I can show you this notice of decisions if you need to see copies.
Okay, just 1 second. So let's just make sure we're all in
So
the,
you're not revising variance number 5?
I am. I'm reducing it from 17.915
Right?
to 17.5, which is basically below.
17.5?
Yes.
Okay.
And that variance basically is only giving me an extra 2 feet from the 17 meters that is the standard for the bylaw.
then that's what's different from what the planning.
That's the only difference, and I can show you notice of decisions from the past, which in the same street and in the same block, I have houses approved between 17.5 meters up to,
But that have, I mean, depth is one thing, but it's like it's the combination.
absolutely. That's what I agree with planning and everything else. I just want to make sure the height we reduce everything. The only thing is because we have a garage now in the main floor, it reduces the space usable at the main floor. So if you look at my plans, by the time that you see the kitchen, the dining room losing those 2 feet basically disappears. It's not a space between the staircase, behind the garage, and the kitchen. Those 2 feet are really important in order for the design to work properly. And as I was mentioning before, I have an approval here from the committee across the street where a house got approved at 18.5 meters in depth.
What address is that?
Will be, I actually can give you the copy of the decision if you want.
Thank you.
And I have many more at 17.5 meters. That's the reason why I base 17.5 to be more like the ruling yard.
What radius would it be?
61 Virginia Avenue.
Like,
I can give you the other decisions.
yeah, well, if you could tell us roughly the radius that they're in, how close to the house? In the same block? Okay.
On Virginia.
I only base here. I only make my decisions in the same street basically. So it's around 17.5 meters. That was back in 2014.
Do you want to see?
It's 46 Virginia.
No. So that's on the same street, but quite far away.
Within a block distance, 61 Virginia to 121 is more or less a block, right? Again, if it's a big issue for the committee and you don't think that is favorable, I will prefer to go then to the recommendation of the planning. I don't want to wait another 5 months to come back here. They told me that there is no any more space until June or July now. I don't think what I'm asking is really a lot, but if the committee decides otherwise, I prefer to go to the 17 meters, like not to It's just that the house will not be so functional if you look at the kitchen area when I lose those 2 feet. Because I have the staircase behind the garage, right? And the distance between the kitchen and the staircase is minimized and eliminates the dining room, becomes a hallway, basically.
Could you tell me, number 22, next door,
Yes.
yeah? Your length, how are you going to, it doesn't show, like how close to it, or how much further are you going beyond that address?
I actually have the decision for number 22 here.
Well, I don't, yeah, I just want to know,
I will be basically, if they are built exactly the same as me, I will be the 2 feet passing the property in the back.
right,
But they are much higher than me as well. The house was built in 2015.
It's higher than your,
It is higher. I have the decision here.
what's their floor space index? Does it say?
Should be the other decision.
I don't, I'm just checking.
they didn't have there was no FSI variance.
Okay, so they complied because there was no variance.
They probably did, yes.
Sorry, the GFA?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, staff spoke about the impact on adjacent properties in your development. What impact will do you foresee in the building of your unit?
Well, I'm keeping the house lower than the neighbor. We are accepting all the changes and recommendations from staff. The only item that I'm asking the committee to consider, if I can have those extra 2 feet, just to get that dining room between the kitchen and the staircase. If it's an issue that the committee doesn't see proper, I will accept the 17 meters that the planning department is offering.
So with the adjustments that you've made, would that not also then adjust your lot coverage?
Absolutely,
FSI?
absolutely it
Have
will.
those new numbers?
Yes,
So variance number 1,
it will be a 37.4.
and you have the square meters?
It will be a 0.77 times. I do not have the square meters calculated. The planning department actually, in the recommendation, they say that they will recalculate all that once the application goes in.
That's not what it says, but okay.
So you have to calculate that.
I see.
And what about the FSI, variance number 6? With your changes, how would that adjust the FSI?
It will reduce as well.
Do you have that number?
No, but I can calculate it and come back. Can I do
Okay,
that?
so do you want to stand down, and then when
I will.
you've got that figured out, motion to us, and we'll see if we can fit you back in?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, number 28, 290 Kenilworth. The committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plans, floor plans, and elevations. Can we have your name, please?
Sandra Verzovsky.
Thank you. Committee members, do you need a presentation or questions?
No, I just have a question for Sandra. The front yard setback is 6 meters, and you're going closer to the front yard to 4.56 meters. Why do you require the extra meter?
I guess I don't have the details, but it's literally just enclosing
The existing
what
porch.
exists today.
Closing an
Yeah.
existing
Yeah,
porch,
okay.
so that it's an existing condition.
So it just gets counted now as.
Unless the stairs are being considered, but
Is there stairs that's put there?
there's a step.
That's the problem, there's
Maybe.
stairs on the side.
Yeah.
Maybe that now that it's being closed, it's counted against the front yard setback where the porch isn't.
No, the porch wouldn't, but the stairs would cause the excess.
Right, but it would probably be existing stairs, which would trigger.
The stairs at the front.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Hold on, floor space index, you're moving, what's there presently? You want 0.78 times the area of the lot. What do you have presently?
I don't have the details on me.
I think because the porch is being enclosed, that,
I'm asking
Yeah.
the applicant.
I just want to add glass to the sides.
Do you know how many square feet it is that you're adding? How big is your porch?
I don't know. The drawings, you have my drawings.
Okay. I didn't see is that sites? I didn't see the site stats for FSI, so. Lot size, what's that? Okay. Okay. So 5 by 11, yeah, 6 by 12 basically is being added.
70.5 square feet,
Yeah,
feet, not meters.
6.55 square meters is being added. Just if you ever come before, this is your responsibility to provide that information to us.
It wasn't communicated
Okay.
to me, but
It's okay. It's just learning opportunity. Okay. Right, any other questions?
No other questions from me.
Okay. So we're in committee, discussion or a motion?
Through you, Madam Chair, I think these variances are indeed minor. There are several other porches on that street that are enclosed, so what's being proposed fits within the character, so I'd move approval of the application.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Okay, so that's a motion by Ms. Omen, seconded by Mr. Carlson for approval of the application. All in favor? Your application's approved.
so what are the next steps?
You'll get a decision, and then you have to wait out the appeal period.
For the 10 days, and then I'll get a letter? Or 20 days?
So you're going to get a copy of the decision of the committee, which will outline the deadline for appeal. If that appeal deadline passes and no one appeals it, then you'll be able to do the next steps and make your applications for a building permit.
Okay, thanks.
Are you ready, 26? Okay, so you have those new numbers for lot coverage then, what would that be?
Correct. Item number 1 will be reduced from 30,
26, you're fast.
sorry,
So the
Okay.
37.4% is equal to how many square meters?
that will be to 223.9 square meters.
200?
223.9.
That's impossible.
That's impossible.
No.
Sorry, I didn't calculate square meters in this one. The next one, the reduction in the next one, number 6, I reduced.
Okay, so number 6 is, the FSI is going down to what? Point what?
0.77, the space index, and the square feet is 223 square meters, 0.8.
0.8 square meters. Okay, what about lot coverage then? The 37.4% becomes what?
So this one will reduce as of the same, so it will be it will be reduced from 111.91 to 107.
107 even?
Even?
Correct.
107 even? Okay. Thank you. Okay. For number 1, lot coverage.
Number 7.
Yeah.
107.
Yeah, 107.
It's 223.8 square meters and 0.8 and 0.77%, or times, I should say. Yeah.
Okay. All right, with respect to this application number 26, committee members, any further questions?
Are you aware of the urban forestry requirement?
Yes, I am. I have the right here.
Madam Chair,
questions?
Are we in discussion now?
So we're in committee if there's no other questions, so
Yeah.
discussion.
Well, I'm satisfied that with the new, the amendments that the applicant has made favorable for approval. I'm satisfied that he has met those requirements as under the Planning Act, and I'd be willing to move for approval of this application for the amended, as amended,
And forestry condition number 1?
with forestry condition number 1. So variance number 1 is amended to.
I think we've got them.
You have that? Okay. You took out variance number 4?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just add that there are a lot of new homes in that area, and from a character perspective, it fits within the context of the neighborhood, which is clearly in transition. There are lots of two-story homes, and the one facing it on the right-hand side is in fact a modern new home, so I would be prepared to second it. Did you include forestry number 1?
Yeah, forestry number 1, yes.
Okay, so that's a motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Ms. Omen, for approval of the application as amended, subject to forestry condition number 1. All in favor? Petition's approved.
Thank you very much.
Just suggest in future, given that almost every single variance has been adjusted, that there be earlier, to try to have some earlier discussions with planning, because this is a lot of applications.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Okay, so,
29.
I just wondered if 23 was back in, but 29, 187 Woodmount Avenue. The committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plans, floor plans, and elevations. And could we have your name, sir, please?
I'm Patrick McAuliffe, the agent for the owner.
Thank you. Committee members, do you need a presentation, or can we proceed to questions? Okay,
I've been asked to make a comment
certainly.
from the planning department. I just want to bring it to your attention that the existing house passes over the corner of the right-of-way. The addition is straight up, so it's not going to affect it any more than what it is now. And the cantilever at the back is actually beyond the right-of-way.
Was that included in a notice? Everything was included in a notice?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I see that a little bit on the survey, yeah, okay. Okay. No, we're not dealing with that. But thank you for pointing it out anyway.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, questions, panel members? No questions?
Sir, Madam Chair. Variance number 4, the roof eaves projecting, the maximum allowed is 0.3, no more than 0.3 to the lot line, and you're looking for 0.02.
Right. And if you take a look at the site plan there, you'll see that the reason why is because the house is so off straight on the property that a corner of the eaves trough will be coming up that close, but not the entire eaves trough.
So it's a small area that
Yeah.
that variance is required for.
My questions.
Any other questions?
The addition's on the existing footprint of the house, correct?
I'm sorry.
It's on the existing footprint of the house, the,
It's the existing footprint plus 2 feet front and back.
yeah, plus that little
Yeah.
piece.
All right, any other questions? Okay, having said that, we're in committee. Discussion or motion, please?
Through you, Madam Chair. Again, I think this fits within the context of the neighborhood. There are houses to the left that are longer. There are many other houses that are similar. There's no impact at the back, as there's nothing behind really. Well, it's quite a distance, actually. So I would move approval if there are no other comments.
I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Ms. Omen, seconded by Mr. Carlson for approval of the application. All in favor? Your application's approved.
Thank you.
23.
Are you ready? Okay, 23. Were you able to get that information?
Yes, so there's two variances. The second variance for open space is going to be 27%, which is 59.61 square meters.
Sorry, 15, how much?
59.61.
Okay.
And then the first variance will be 25% at 17.84 square meters.
Thank you for getting that information.
Thank you.
Okay. Any
Madam,
questions?
no question.
So we're in committee then?
Madam Chair, with the changes, I am satisfied that the applicant has met the 4 tests with the amended application, and so I move for acceptance of the application. It's not contrary to the City Authority Act.
Would you like
Including
to add the,
forestry?
With the urban forestry one.
And what about the planning condition with respect to permeable pavers? Would you be including that in your motion?
We include staff recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, which is permanent pavers.
Okay. Is there
Just to clarify, they weren't asking for it to go all the way down the existing driveway. They were just talking about the proposed area.
the remaining hardscape portion? So we'll word it in the manner in which it's in the staff.
They have a huge driveway that goes out to the front.
Okay, it says the remain. Okay, to the satisfaction of
There.
planning? Okay. Okay. Right, so motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Ms. Omen for approval of the amended application, subject to forestry condition 1 and subject to the planning report condition number 2 with respect to permeable pavers to the satisfaction of the planning department. All in favor? Your application is approved under those conditions.
Thanks very much.
Welcome. Okay, so. There's 21 back in the room. 33 Plater. So I'll just start by saying the committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 form letters in support, signed by the owners and occupants of 31, 35, and 31 and 35 Plater, and 16 Herndale, and correspondence and concern from the owner of 31 Plater Crescent. Your name?
Peter Bryce.
Is the opposition still here?
No, she left.
Okay. Your name again, I'm sorry?
My name?
Yes.
It's Peter. Last name is Bryce, P-R-I-C-E.
Peter
Was that the neighbor that had the concern about the tree?
That's correct.
Okay,
She's also signed a consent as well.
okay.
Okay.
The tree that she's talking about is on 16 Herndale, and it's about 4 meters away from the corner, and it's less than a foot in diameter.
Okay, that's why there's no forestry report.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, committee members, do you need a presentation or just questions?
Just question.
Any questions then?
Peter, on your first variance, you're looking for 0.6 meters from the fence line, from this lot line. Why do you need that so close when you only ask, or the bylaw only asks for 1.2 meters?
It's just because the backyard is so incredibly small. So this pool here is the smallest commercial pool I could actually find. Nothing grows in that backyard, and I'm trying to make a living space for my family. So to get it to fit in there, if we didn't have that variance, it would be almost right in the middle. It would kill any sitting area. So 2 feet in this backyard means a lot, or 0.6 meters.
So as proposed, the distance between the pool and the garage is 2.6 meters?
That's correct. So if the variance
The lot
wasn't,
is only 8.84 meters wide at the rear.
that's correct. And there's an existing structure on the side.
Right, any other questions? Okay, we're in committee, discussion or motion?
I'll just observe that historically, this committee has been quite leery of reducing pool setbacks. I mean, as far as I'm not entirely convinced of the desirability of it, but I don't see any practical issues here.
And there isn't a lot of room to play with, and plus, well, it's on a curved street as well. Both neighbors are in support, as well as the one at the rear. Just like to add that.
If I might add, I've also tried,
Sorry, we're in committee now?
oh, I apologize.
So it appears that everything's been done to get the smallest pool, to leave as much as they can around it. It's
Yeah.
a little bit,
The problem is that the size of the pool is not our issue, whether or not it fits into the plan now. We have to continue to.
I think the siting of the other properties next door and immediately behind where those homes are, the others, I think the impact will be minimal there.
well, they're staggered, both
Yes, that's-
adjacent
yeah.
people, so they're not, well, they're not gonna be impacted at all, actually. Especially, well, the one to the right isn't, because it looks like the back of their house is kind of at the lot line of where the property, where the pool's going. Anyway, I don't have a concern with it. Well,
Need a motion?
I'm prepared to move approval of the application, as I feel that clearly the neighbors don't feel they're going to be impacted by this, which is why they're supporting this. I think the applicant has done what they could to leave as much space around it and have the best setbacks they could come up with. So I would move approval of the application.
Is there a seconder?
Nope.
No seconder?
I will second it on the noting that it is a mere thing and that it's a close thing, and I am leery of this type of application. But I think this one will be all right.
I have the same views.
So that's a motion from Ms. Omen, seconded by Mr. Carlson, for approval of the application. All in favor? Your application's approved.
Thank you.
So item number 25, 38 Eastmount Avenue. Everybody back in the room? Okay, so if people are in opposition or wish to speak, can you please sit up along the left-hand side here? And we'll call you the applicants. So just before we start, I want to let people know we have a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, covering letter from Heather Asquith, agent, including context plan, aerial view of neighborhood, and 5 streetscape photographs of the subject property, correspondence and support from 39 Eastmount, form letters in support from 3446 and 50 Eastmount, 29 Thorncliffe Avenue, 48 and 44 Eastmount, correspondence in opposition from 112 Cambridge, and correspondence from R.L. and G.H. Webster solicitors on behalf of Peter Maharis at 36 Eastmount Avenue, and a 9-signature petition in opposition signed by owners and occupants of Eastmount Avenue. We could have your name, please.
My name is Heather Asquith. I'm the agent applicant for 38 Eastmount Avenue.
Okay, so if we could have your presentation, please.
The owners of 38 Eastmount Avenue wish to build a new 2-story addition to the rear of their existing semi-detached house and are seeking 2 variances under the zoning bylaw. The first is to allow for a floor space index of 0.74 times the area of the lot, 151.77 meters squared. The second is to allow for a building depth of 17.62 meters. To give a brief description of the house, it's an existing semi-detached part of a row of 2-story semi-detached houses on the north side of Eastmount Avenue in the Danforth and Broadview area of the city. The owners have lived in the house since the year 2000. The house is quite small and narrow, and the owners are requesting the increased area and depth to accommodate a family room at the ground floor and a larger bedroom and additional bathroom on the second floor. This will accommodate living and bedroom space for their university-aged children, as well as an elderly family member. In an attempt to reduce the required depth for the addition, it's been expanded to the side toward the east, but remains within the required setbacks for the property. With regard to the requested variances, there are precedents in the immediate neighborhood for similarly approved floor space indexes and building depth. To give some examples, there's an FSI of 0.76 and building depth of 18.2 meters approved for a 2-story semi-detached house at 60 Eastmount Avenue, which is directly to the east. There's an FSI of 1.03 and a building depth of 19 meters approved for a semi-detached house at 74 Eastmount Avenue to the east. The FSI and depth variances approved for both of these semi-detached houses on the north side of Eastmount are greater than what's being requested here at 38 Eastmount. There are also FSIs ranging from 0.81 to 1.69 approved for semi-detached houses at 49 Cambridge Avenue, 12 Ozark Crescent, 37 Eastmount Avenue, 94 Cambridge Avenue, 92 Cambridge Avenue. All of these are within a 300-meter radius of 38 Eastmount Avenue. So I'll just say the addition is part of a pattern of additions occurring on the north side of Eastmount. It's not visible from the front of the house and is not changing the character of the house from the street. We'll also note that the proposal respects all of the setback requirements for the rear addition and does not contravene any requirements for landscape, open space, or soft landscaping in the rear yard. The owners have made extended efforts to consult with their immediate and surrounding neighbors regarding the proposal. They've received support from several of your neighbors, as you've seen, 34, 44, 46, 48, and 50 on Eastmount on the north side, also from 39 Eastmount directly across the street, and 29 Thorncliffe Avenue, the rear neighbor directly to the north. We are aware that there's a petition and letter of objection from the attached neighbor at 36 Eastmount Avenue. The owners were able to meet with the resident in this house in person on March 23rd to review the proposed plans for the addition following earlier attempts. Mr. Maharis indicated he was not open to further discussion regarding the proposal. His legal counsel subsequently submitted the letter, and we'd like to address several of the concerns in the letter. Notes there's a concern for possible flooding in the area. We'll note that we are not requesting any adjustment to the landscape and open space requirements for the property. With regard to the rear yard soft landscaping requirements have all been maintained to ensure proper absorption of storm water into the soil, and these are being observed and maintained. It also notes there's a high possibility of damage to property during construction. We'll note that the addition is to be constructed entirely on the property of 38 Eastmount Avenue. We've confirmed with the zoning examiner that if construction of the addition is contained to the property of 38 Eastmount and does not extend over the property line, a party wall agreement will not be required. The interior renovations proposed are minor and will not require work to the shared party wall. The letter also makes reference to underpinning as a concern during construction. We'd like to clarify that no underpinning of existing footings is planned as part of this project, and new footings will be built at the level of the existing foundations. And lastly, the owners of 38 Eastmount Avenue have expressed their willingness to discuss material selections for the new addition And as with previous improvements to their property, they've been committed to maintaining the existing character of their home and are happy to discuss this with their neighbors. In summary, we believe the building depth and floor space index variances requested for the proposal are minor in nature and not without precedent on the street. The addition is in keeping with the pattern of additions on the north side of Eastmount Avenue and will allow for the continued use of the property by these longstanding homeowners. We do not believe it will have an adverse impact on the residential character of the neighborhood.
Are you both intending to speak, or just one of you, or both of you? Okay, so if you could come up to the podium and state your name and...
Thank you for your time. Just want to make some additional notes regarding the letter of objection and,
Your name? And
oh, my name is Peter Maharis. I apologize. I'm the neighbor at 36.
Okay.
I just want to make some additional notes regarding my petition and my letter of objection. As per the first variance, we don't consider it a minor variance. It will further impact our enjoyment of the outdoors and our backyard gatherings because there will be a wall on beside our deck, and that will hinder a lot of our enjoyment of the outdoors. Gardening possibilities will also be reduced due to the overshadowing of the new building. As you can see in photo A, if you don't put that on, Marisa, this view will become a wall according to the plans outlined. 2 feet exceeds will not help with the view. Bird migration will be possibly affected by this wall addition. Soil stability, wildlife habitat, and appearance of the area will be diminished. The proposed architecture is out of character and could hold negative effect on the charisma of the neighborhood. As you can see in photo B, the nearest house with the extension is only about 4 houses away, but this house was found to have had flooding after the addition. In addition, the neighbor had flooding. Below in photo C, or above in photo C, I apologize, you will see our current view facing west. The nearest extension is about 5 houses away, which is okay. This allows for safe viewing and overall safety of the nearby residents because you're able to see who comes and goes. And I'm a true believer of neighborhood watch, and I like to look out for others. With the extension of 38 Eastmount, I won't be able to do that anymore. In photo D, you will see a rear view of our properties when looking south at our properties. Try to visualize the addition, put yourself in our shoes. Would you like the loss of sunshine, the possibility of not being able to garden again? It's going to be a big, big change. Our livelihood and mental health will be affected by this development. As far as the second variance in question, the additional floor space, which is going, I do believe, from the limits 140, and they're asking for 151 square meters, is quite extensive, in my opinion. It will take away our enjoyment of our backyard, and in addition, there has been no mention of any privacy fence or trees or anything like that. So I would like to close off by saying, if you could consider the strong possibility of flooding and structural damage, because we are talking about circa 1910 houses here, there's going to be a loss of privacy, and it's going to be an impact on our residential comfort. Overshadowing, overbearing impact will also be there. There's going to be more traffic and parking issues because there is already, with this construction, there's going to be quite a bit. And there's going to be a wildlife impact. And unfortunately, these houses are becoming historic, and I like to conserve the historic look of them. Thank you very much.
Any questions of Mr. Comment?
Yeah,
Sorry, excuse me, sir. Mr. Russell has a question.
Yes.
Mr. Mahias, you're in 36.
I am at 36.
Yeah, so you object, or he doesn't say object to the proposed addition. Okay.
May I add 36 and 40 object to this decision? To the proposal, sorry.
To the proposal.
So that's both neighbors.
So you're speaking on behalf of number 40?
No, she's on my petition. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today.
I see.
Petition. You speak about wildlife. What kind of wildlife you got there?
We have lots of birds. We have raccoons. We occasionally have a lot of squirrels. These are the wildlife I'm talking about.
But you notice he has not requested a fence height.
No.
So,
No, I'm just saying, with the extension of the backyard,
yeah.
like right now, we could see each other. Like it's just a
Yeah,
small,
but if he wants to build a fence by right, we can't do anything about that, because as long as.
no, I understand. I'm just saying it was not stipulated in the plans that there isn't going to be anything. So if they're going to be out in the back, I won't have any privacy to do my thing in my backyard.
Okay, but
How
you,
is that, sorry, what's the difference between the privacy issue?
Well, right now, we have a deck behind our houses
Yes.
with a fence that's high enough that we don't see each other.
Okay.
If there's going to be another patio deck in the back, there won't be any privacy for either one of us.
so you're suggesting that a privacy fence may be acceptable,
Yes.
but you don't want a private, you don't want a.
Well, I find it's too extensive. It's too large,
So,
You mean the addition?
addition.
so one way or the other, we're not at any win-win situation here. Flooding, I really don't understand flooding. I mean.
Well, there's been flooding after construction on 36, on Eastmount Avenue.
There's flooding from there?
No. I'm just saying, based on previous extensions, there has been flooding. And I just want to avoid that in my house. Not my house, my mother's house, but I'm the power of attorney.
Okay. Loss of privacy, floor space. How does the floor space index affect you on 36? You just pushing it back?
Well, to be honest with you, at one time in 36, my house, we had 5 people living in it. Okay? The same dimensions. So I understand everyone wants their space, and I realize that. I'm open to other options that will not take away our freedom of our backyard, because this will, in a way, take away our gardening, our love of nature, and basically our living during the summer months in our backyard.
Do you realize that, that without permission, the building could go back to 17 meters?
I understand that. I'm objecting to the exceedances
Okay.
because I realize that. I wish I could object to everything, but I can't, of course. I understand that.
I guess we can't do anything about your viewing for your community safety program.
No,
We can't do anything about
I
that.
only could continue being a good citizen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, can we first have your name and address, please?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Marisa Maharis. I live at 36 Eastmount Avenue, and I'm here with my husband, Peter Maharis.
Okay.
I also want to express my objection to the proposed development at 36 Eastmount, 38th Eastmount, and I thank you very much for giving me a few extra minutes to add to my husband's presentation.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to say that I agree with all the issues my husband has brought forth. And second, I want to address a few additional points that will affect me and my health more personally. I'm a natural science technician by profession. I chose this career path because of my love and passion for nature and the environment. I'm a very sensitive person, and pollution of any kind and disharmony in general has a detrimental effect on my health. As a result, I suffer from mental health challenges. The noise and disturbance that the proposed addition will bring, it will bring unwanted and significant additional stress to my already fragile mental health and worsen my anxiety and depression. Also, one of my big concerns is the environmental aspect of such a project. Just the other day, my husband and I were admiring a beautiful woodpecker on a tree in the yard a couple of doors down. We could not have seen that with the proposed adjustment at 38 Eastmount. In addition, the proposed development will significantly reduce the natural sunlight that fills our deck and our kitchen. The expansion will dramatically reduce the enjoyment of our backyard. Furthermore, it will lessen our privacy and cause what can only be categorized as a big eyesore for us. So in conclusion, with all that Peter, my husband, has said, the petition of objection, in addition to the letter of objection, should serve to support our position. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter.
Thank you. Any questions? That's fine. Thank you very much. So if you could please speak to the matters that have been raised, please.
Okay, I guess in light of just the discussion about depth, the lots on this north side of Eastmount are quite long, 130-foot lots. The addition as proposed maintains a 15.7-meter setback from the rear property line, which is twice what's required. So, I mean, I think there's still ample rear yard space even beyond this addition that's maintained for the viewing of both backyards. I think also the point in terms of light is the addition being to the east of 36 Eastmount, the afternoon sunlight that does come into that backyard will be maintained at 36 Eastmount. I think the issues with flooding we addressed before, like we're maintaining the soft yard landscaping requirements in the rear of the property. It's a bit of a construction issue. I mean, the neighbors would take every means to construct a waterproof foundation, and I don't see how this would have adversarial effects on the neighbor. With regard to the privacy fence, the owners at 38 Eastmount are happy to put a privacy fence to the extent of the new deck that they're proposing, if that makes the proposal more amicable.
Anything else?
No, that's all. Thanks.
Any questions?
Yeah. The last speaker spoke about mental health issues with regards to the building. I take mental health issues very seriously.
Yes.
Is there any way you can do this development without causing any trauma, stress that will cause further deterioration of her mental health? I know it's a tough.
Are you asking me to talk to construction techniques?
Yeah, with whatever development you're planning to do there.
I'm not sure how this relates to the variances.
Yeah, I think it might be.
I think that we'd hope that if anything that the committee approves, that any resident would try to the degree possible, respect the impact on the neighbors to the degree possible with construction going on, whether it be this property or any, I would hope. But we have to rely on that. It's not something that the committee can.
Yes, absolutely.
My question then moves further to say the setup of a privacy fence. There's a fence there already.
Yes.
I
mean, we could propose a fence that's higher, that runs along the west side of the proposed deck under our proposal, if it gives some additional privacy. I'm not sure it's going to make a substantial difference from the fence that's there right now, but we would offer it.
They pointed out, the first speaker spoke about flooding existing beyond the next door of 36. And And in your presentation, you said there's no flooding from what you're planning to do.
Well, what I've said is we've maintained the soft landscaping requirements in the rear yard. Part of that is to absorb rainwater in these rear yards so that flooding doesn't occur. I believe that's part of the intent of that part of the zoning bylaw.
And that will resolve the issue of flooding if there's one.
Yes, there's an extensive backyard.
Okay. My questions.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're in committee discussion or motion.
Heard from the neighbors. This really is a typical rear addition. I mean, with regard to the fact that this is a rear addition to a semi with opposition from the other half, but this is appropriate to its context, is relatively modest addition, and is entirely typical.
I would agree. In terms of the variances, I think that they are indeed minor. And I am very sympathetic to the neighbors, to the concerns that were raised. And I believe usually there's a grading plan required as well for the addition, which would look at any potential flooding damage to neighborhood properties. That's not part of the purview of the committee, but I would like the neighbors to know that that is something required through the building permit stage. I would agree with my colleague in terms of what we look at, and from a planning perspective, these variances are very minor. I do understand this is a big change, and perhaps the applicant could somehow let them know when there's going to be a lot of noise so that it may help with some of the things that the neighbor has to deal with in terms of her own mental health. But in terms of the variances, I would be in agreement with Mr. Carlson.
Other discussion?
No, I guess my feelings is that the variances themselves, as they stand for the Committee of Adjustment, pretty well fall within variances requests that we have received. I've heard the opposition speak on the matters, and I hope that there be a developed relationship that will assist to alleviate any unnecessary stress that may cause. But the variances themselves are indeed within the portfolio of what we normally have as minor variances.
I would be prepared to move approval of the application. I think I would like to include a condition that on the deck, there's a privacy screening or some kind of fencing on the east, on the east side, I'm sorry. Really? I don't know if that would help,
They're
then
too
I
high,
would be
make it too
prepared
high.
to move it.
I mean, we could go to committee, but from what I heard from neighbors, I don't think that's really
No?
You could actually add more of a
Can we
barrier.
come out of committee for 1 second?
Sure.
Could I just ask the neighbors if we put a condition in the approval to put some kind of screening on the proposed deck, would that be helpful or would that hinder you more? So we can't deal with the noise bylaws. The only thing, as I stated earlier, is that hopefully they could let you know when there's going to be significant noise that perhaps.
That's completely.
I see, yeah, that's out of our purview. The only thing I can do is, if it's going to help you, I can put a condition in for some kind of a screening on the deck.
Although that will, your sight
It would be
line.
higher, right, your sight line?
So your,
Yes, I understand. I want to object to this decision, but I do agree
Okay.
with your
Okay, so it would be like 1.5 meters is generally what we, or would it?
the fence.
for the
Okay.
rail?
Can I just ask one question then? Are you intending to still maintain a fence from?
Yes.
From the rear of your property to the rear lot line?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be, my motion then, would be to approve the application, including screening on the east side of the deck, to a height.
The west side.
is it the west? Sorry, I was
So,
looking-
yeah,
I
they're
was
attached
looking
on the west
backwards.
side.
Okay, the west side? Yeah, to a maximum of 1.5 meters. 1.5 is usually what we approve.
Stick with the standard.
Yeah, that's the standard, because otherwise you're going outside.
Again, I'm just, you know,
So do I have a
Overlaps here.
seconder for that?
I will second it.
Okay, so there's a motion by Ms. Omen, seconded by Mr. Carlson for approval of the application with the condition that there be screening to 1.5, maximum of 1.5 meters along where the deck exists,
West side.
west side. All in favor? The application's approved with that condition.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 27, 26 Amsterdam Avenue. Twenty-seven Amsterdam, Mecca in the room, okay. Is the opposition still here? Okay, so if, you can take a seat towards the left once these people have collected their things. So just to let you know, the committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, previous decision of the committee affecting the subject property, revised comparative front elevation drawings received from the agent, a covering letter from the agent, staff report from the acting supervisor, tree protection and plan review, urban forestry, 9-signature petition in support signed by the owners, or by owners and occupants of Amsterdam and Holland Avenue, correspondence in opposition from 31, 51, 20, 25, 30, 18, and 22 Amsterdam Avenue. Could we please have your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is John Ramirez. I'm the applicant and designer. The address is 371 Strawberry Crescent.
Okay, could we have, please have your presentation?
Sure, thank you. Thank you for your time. Well, we're proposing a two-story single-family dwelling. It has an integral garage as well. We're asking 2 variances. The first variance we're asking for is a 2% increase in lot coverage. Our second variance is an increase in FSI of 0.07 times the lot area, which brings us to 0.67. I'll just talk about the first variance we're requesting. For our lot coverage, the 2% that we're asking for would be accounted for at the rear of the house. We're proposing a 1-story rear addition that it's serving as a breakfast nook, and it's something that we won't see from the street or anyone passing by. So that would be definitely something that won't affect the community at all. Also, the front porch plays a small role in the lot coverage, and that is an essential design element that is in the neighborhood and is required. Moving on to our FSI, we're requesting an additional 0.07 of FSI. And what that calculates to be is approximately 21 square meters. The 21 square meters will be spread out through the 2 levels of the house. So it won't be as noticeable at all. Even though we're slightly over, we also comply with all the other bylaws. We comply with the front and rear setbacks, the side yard setbacks. We comply with the building length, building depth. We comply with all the building heights in regards to roof eave, main height, main roof heights, building heights. We comply with all of them. So we have other bylaws that kind of help control the massing of the house, and there was just one variance that we're asking for in regards to the massing. I would also like to mention that what we're proposing today is not uncommon. There are several examples in the neighborhood. I itemized them in my letter, and I gave you a few examples. However, furthermore to that, we respect the community. We respect what's there now, and we spoke to planning last week. They told us that they had no concerns with our application, but if we can help out with some of the materials and how we can kind of blend in with the rest of the community. So we propose to add some horizontal siding at the gables of the roof. We also include some decorative window shutters. We also created a little roof line above the garage and the front porch and the bay window. And that roof line will kind of be at the same level as both our adjacent neighbors. And I would remind you that both our adjacent neighbors are in support of our application. We have signatures from one of the neighbors that was here today, but after talking to her and explaining all the things we were doing and what we're really requesting for, she felt that she would support our application. I have those signatures if you need them. And that's all for now, I guess.
Or,
Yeah.
are they different than what we already have? So that's an addition? Okay, okay. Thank you. I think we have them, but yes, you can. That's fine.
If you have any questions, I'll be sure to.
Yeah, I just have a question. I'm just looking at the refusal that was before the other panel last year.
Yeah.
I don't have any of the background information, but I assume there were people objecting. Have you had any consultation with the neighbors since the refusal and now, because this is a totally different, I mean, it's a much better application, but
Yep.
it is very different from what was here before?
I was not a part of the first
Yeah,
application. I wasn't the designer. But the neighbor, the homeowner was, and he's been reaching out to the neighbors to talk to them and let them know what we're proposing. Some of them were open to discussion, some weren't. We've met a few today, and we spoke to them, and we couldn't come to an agreement, so they're going to have something to say.
I was just curious if there have been any meetings. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So, sorry, I just have one question, sorry. In your letter, the examples you provide,
Yes.
just from a context perspective, I just need to, where's, shoot. Our map isn't that large. Where's Tiago in comparison to the Tiago Avenue, comparison to the subject property? How, just a geographic distance?
I know it's not too far because the research we pulled was within the parameters of where our zone is, but it's funny because Tiago was one of the applications I did just a while ago.
I'm just trying from a context perspective, because those are some of the examples you provided.
Yes.
Yardley, Tiago, Squires, Homestead.
Do you know what the radius is?
It's less than 5 meters,
500?
5 miles, I think.
5 miles.
500 meters, 500 meters. I apologize.
500
Sorry about that.
It's just that the context map we have doesn't show those streets, so I'm just trying to
So
understand where they are.
It's 1, 2, 3 streets down, Tiago.
So it's below
south.
Galbraith?
Yes,
Actually,
One below Galbraith?
yeah. It's after that one. That one's Yardley Avenue, and then it's the
Okay,
next
so
one.
it's Galbraith, Yardley, Tiago?
Tiago, yes.
it'd be helpful in the future if you could plot it on a map, because we get a very small radius, so it's hard for us to see.
I apologize.
I know, that's fine.
And where's Homestead?
My phone doesn't die. Homestead.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. My phone just died on me.
I think the Secretary Treasurer just told us it's
Yeah, it's
closer
okay.
to St. Clair. Okay, thank you. So if we could speak? Are you all going to speak? Yes. Okay, that's fine. And your name, please, and address. Thank you. Your name and address, please.
My name is Lisa Dimitrick, and my husband and I have lived at 22 Amsterdam for more than 20 years. Our property is 2 houses away from 26 Amsterdam to the west of it. We are concerned about the variances being requested here, and we've come to voice our opposition and respectfully request that you refuse the application. We acknowledge that there are houses in the neighborhood that have been granted approval to be developed with a floor space index and/or a lot coverage which are over the bylaws. And as the applicant's representative just mentioned, there were 28 properties in the material that he gave to you. So those are the 28 properties that they've brought out. However, there are many properties on that list which are well to the south of Amsterdam and which are in a community that has very different physical characteristics to the streets around Amsterdam. I have a map that was prepared by Derek Wong, who is a city planner with the City of Toronto. This map was created by Mr. Wong in relation to a different proposal, which is available publicly, and it was last revised by Mr. Wong in November of 2018. The Amsterdam itself is the second street down. And approximately where the pen is 26. It's a little bit more to the west. Just to let you know that from my review of other information that's available publicly and on about different properties, the study area that is outlined in the dotted line is one that is often used by the City of Toronto staff when they do their expert witness statements for the Toronto local appeal body. So if I consider just the properties that are on the list that have been submitted by the applicant that are within this area, I've highlighted the ones that are no longer within the study area that's often used by the City of Toronto staff. So there are now 16 properties, which are more than the bylaws in the floor space index and on the lot coverage. So going back to the work that was already done by Mr. Wong, I note that there are 481 properties in the study area that he has outlined. And I have here, and highlighted in yellow is the study area that is often used by the City of Toronto staff. And the yellow marks are the properties that are over in the FSI and or the lot coverage. As I mentioned, there are 16 properties that are over that amount. And that amounts to about 3.1% of the study lots in the area, because there are 481 within that highlighted zone, that yellow highlighting. I have here as well a graph that was prepared by Mr. Wong last November in this regard. Sorry, that should say 16 at the top, but in terms of the floor space index, you can see that the majority of lots within this area are less than 0.4 in terms of the floor space index. There are some that are up to the bylaws, and there are very few properties that are over the bylaws that need to be followed. So I think that it's important to note that the majority of the lots, that probably about 87%, once you take off the 3%, have a floor space index of less than 0.0, and 97% of the lots in the area are lower than the bylaws allow. And going back to this map, you can see that on Amsterdam Avenue and on the block where 26 is, there are absolutely no houses within a 1 block radius that are over in FSI or the lot coverage. So again, his 26 Amsterdam is probably right around there somewhere. So to summarize, yeah, so there were the 7 letters that were submitted which opposed the application, and I also have a petition that was signed by 26 people who all opposed the application, which I can show to you as well. And I do have a couple of copies.
Give it to me, thank you. Thank you, we'll share it, thank you. Oops, thanks.
I do also have a map of the neighborhood, which shows where the people who signed it were. So you can see the houses around. And I also want to make note of one of the signatures on the petition that we have. And this is for number 43, Amsterdam. This person wrote, "Please note, I initially agreed with the owner who advised variance was an extra foot or 2 in width. More width or addition to length I do not agree with. We feel that while the variances being requested here might look very minor in numbers, the change would be a major impact when compared to the houses in the surrounding area. A core test of the official plan is to respect and reinforce the existing physical character of a neighborhood through the pattern of buildings and through the pattern of open spaces. This application does not respect nor does it reinforce the physical character of the neighborhood. We request that you refuse this application, and I thank you for your consideration."
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Ms. The Committee of Adjustment as a whole, we have the mandate to make changes to what exists in the physical nature of the neighborhood or to the character of the neighborhood. One is, I haven't heard you tell me very much about the character of the neighborhood. But 2 is the actual physical makeup of the neighborhood. I mean, we could pretty well make an adjustment of 25% increase based on what's there.
And that would be allowed under the existing bylaws.
Under existing bylaws.
Right, so I'm...
Tell me, why should we not be able to make those adjustments here?
You mean over and above what's allowed under the bylaws?
No, what, over and above what he's asking for. He's not really asking for very much.
Well, that's what I mean by it doesn't sound like very much when you look at the numbers, but it would have a large impact. My husband is planning to speak to that particular point. The fabric of the neighborhood, I wanted to show on that one map. There are no properties within the 1 block radius that are over the 0.6, and almost every single property on Amsterdam, at least our block of Amsterdam, is under 0.4. So in that sense, when we even go to 0.6, which is allowed under the bylaws, that's already a big change in terms of extending the property, like the house or the building, into the backyard. And it's going to change the way the footprints are of the, on the properties.
You're saying to me that going to 0.6 is changing the character?
Even that's a big, I think, in my opinion, that's a huge change, but of course that is what's allowed under the bylaws, and that's acceptable in that respect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Adam Dimitrek.
Pardon?
Adam Dimitrek, and I'm at 22.
Go ahead.
And I'll touch a little bit on what was just asked, just around the actual building. The building is exactly the same as the house that we live in today. And if you look at the lot coverage, it is 26% of that for that existing building. And the FSI is 26.26, sorry. So the proposal would be quite a difference in terms of the existing structure that's there today. what I'd like to show you is a little bit about the actual house patterns and what it looks like from the neighborhood. If we take a look at, whoops. If we take a look at this, all of the backyards align, and they're all lined up evenly on the street. And what this proposal is what it's doing is it's adding to that and changing the way that the houses align in the neighborhood. You know, I feel that that's, you know, as, you know, some others have mentioned, it's an invasion of privacy, right? Because we're now extending beyond there. But also, too, it just doesn't feel right for the neighborhood. And many of the neighbors, like Lisa had mentioned, there's over 26 neighbors that have rejected this proposal. The new house, as I mentioned, will go quite large or quite far back. We believe that it's around, as from what we could gather from the plans, it was 14 feet beyond that the existing house today. It might be a little bit less than that, but you know, maybe 6 inches or so, from what we could gather from the plans. This is what the neighborhood looks like today. 1.5-story homes. Again, they're all aligned in a row. The comment made about that the porch extending out and it's desirable in the neighborhood, I'm not sure how that fits in with the neighborhood, as I don't see any of those porches coming out in that amount of you know, above from the house line. This is our house. This is our house, and just to give you some idea, I've just put some lines in there just to give you an idea of how far the house would extend beyond the existing house, and you know, that definitely would affect us. And from a precedence point of view, I know that you know, we've talked about it in our area, our immediate area has not had any of these types of development. One of the things that I'm afraid of is that if I have a house that's this size and it goes to this 14-foot or close to that 14-foot mark, and I have one on either side of me, what I'm going to be living in is in an alleyway, and I don't think that that is right for the neighborhood. Okay, I just quickly, I just wanted to give you an idea of what it might look like, right? So this is the house that's 2 doors over. That doesn't seem to be, you know, it's excessive, I think. I think it might be a little bit, should be a little bit higher. But this, I'm just trying to give you a representation. I do acknowledge that it might not be to scale, but I think I'm close on how far it goes out and extends beyond the house. And to my point about living in an alleyway, this is what it would look like if I lived right next door to the property. Okay, imagine that on both sides. I don't think, again, from the way that the neighborhood is configured, I don't think that fits within the neighborhood. Okay, and then just to finish off, I just want to also show you my neighbor's lot. This is my neighbor at 30. She has quite a nice view. It's very open. And if that house were to be built, that openness would be gone. So she has lost the openness of that area. And then just to conclude, I don't feel that this proposal, I know that it might seem that it's not major, but in our, well, in my opinion, I believe that it's not minor, based on how the neighborhood is structured today, the alignment of the buildings, and that I would recommend that you reject this proposal.
So you're saying, although the numbers are small, uniquely small, if the development was to take place, the character of the neighborhood would change? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, if it was,
Although the numbers are not very excessive, if there was the millions are put in place based on the application, do you believe the character of the neighborhood would change?
I do. And I again, like extending beyond there, that's not favorable or desirable to the neighbors, as we mentioned around the 26 neighbors that have signed a petition. They're not interested in something like that within our community. And as Lisa mentioned, we have those two streets, right, the Holland Street as well as Amsterdam Street. Those are the only areas that that have been maintained, and we would like that to be maintained.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I just have a question, and the applicant can confirm later when he speaks again. If I was to understand him correctly when he spoke earlier, the little addition, little one-story piece at the back is what accounts for the two variances before us. So if that's the case, if you took that little piece off, everything else is being built as of right. Okay, so he wouldn't have to come here, assuming that's the case. So how do you feel that that little one-story addition is a major impact in comparison to if it were built without it?
I didn't realize that if that was taken off. So what are we saying?
So I'm going to have him
according to my plan, the plans that I saw,
Right.
that to me wasn't the case.
Well, there's no setback variances, there's no height variances, no length variance, nothing. It's just strictly coverage and the FSI. So I'll confirm with them after that it's only that little piece that accounts for.
Yeah, I don't believe it is. From what I've seen in terms of the plans, it is not just that. It would be, the house would need to be set closer to the
Maybe they
existing
can
house.
paint a better picture when they rebut of what it would be as of right in terms of massing versus the variance.
My understanding is that that little piece would not be enough to deal with the FSI and for the lot coverage.
Okay, we'll come back to that when he speaks then. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is John Keeble, and I'm 70 years old, and I'm born there since 1949 in that community at 20. Pardon?
Your address, Mr. Keeble?
51 Amsterdam.
Thank you.
I've been there since 72, but I was born at 29 Topham. I've lived on Topham, Merritt, Fernville, Tallego, and Squires, in that whole community. I know the community. So I could have gone around to the community since I'm well-known in my family and my grandparents. I could have probably brought 300 petitions against this house today, but I stayed within the confines of dealing with the theme of our street. We were here before and spoke. Amsterdam has a theme when you come in off of O'Connor. They started out with bungalows at the bottom, and there's 34 story and a halves. So what happens when you have a theme? It runs with the theme. It's stayed like this for a very long time. I'm very well aware of all the houses and development that have gone on the other areas of the streets. My daughter, who I sold my parents' house to at 87 Squires, we're well aware of problematic things, how dysfunctional houses have gone through, and they don't look part of the neighborhood. This street has a unique theme to it. It has a history of a couple of movies that are made there. Superstar Canadian movie was made on this street. So the whole block makes a statement. So if you allow one house, which is going to be a square block on a 33-foot wide lot, which I get that he wants to build a bigger house, but unfortunately should have bought in a area where you can have a lot to build your 4,000 square foot house or whatever you want. But on a 33-foot wide lot with bungalows and that theme, if one house is allowed to break the theme, you know that once you set the precedent, like the other areas on Galbraith, Yardley, and Squires, they can't happen. But where I was born in the area of the wartime houses at Topham and Merritt, that community, they unite. When anybody goes and steps out of the box to do something to them, they unite very fast as a whole community, and it's still. And that's the way it is down there. Unfortunately, the other areas, because of all the lot sizes since after the war, they're farming, lots are being divided 50. There wasn't a lot of thought put in. But this street has a theme. It has a history. It has movies. To allow one house to go up, I don't have a problem with something being built going up a second story, but to break the theme and go too far on a 33rd lot is not in relevance with it. And keep in mind, number 39 on the other side, my side of the street, he bought the house for $867,000, got a permit. He didn't need a permit because he tore it down and rebuilt to the exact footprint, and that house is not finished right now. So he was willing to buy and build a house on my side of the street to the footprint, so he never needed to come here and ask. We didn't have to go through this neighborhood thing. He built. So there's already a criteria on the street that doesn't need any variances, doesn't need to change the theme of the street. So I ask you to look at what he's built one, so they can build to the footprint and not ask for the variances. And there's no problem with anybody. But if you allow one house to go through and change a variance on this block, you can't stop the rest of them coming. And the criteria is number 39, who was willing to pay that kind of money for that house, tear it down and rebuild to the footprint, and no one's got a complaint. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Okay, could you please come and respond? And as well, could you answer the questions of the panel member as
Yes,
well?
that would only compensate for the lot coverage. The one-story addition is approximately 40 square feet.
Okay, so if that were removed, you would comply with the lot coverage?
No, we would have to move the house back by 3.5 feet to comply on both floors. 3.5 feet we would have.
Okay, I guess what I was getting at is in order for you, and maybe you can paint a picture for all of us.
Yep.
If you were to comply, you could still build a two-story house.
Yep.
How would it differ from what we've got before us, roughly? I know you can't give us the numbers.
So that one-story addition would be removed.
Right.
You know what, I'll just show you the elevation and I'll just scratch out what would be removed.
Just so we have an idea of as of right versus what's before us.
Sorry, it's a quick sketch, but you want to put it the other way
It's
around?
upside down.
It's upside down. So that would remove 230 square feet. So divide that by 2, because there's 2 floors.
Right.
It would bring the house back by 3.5 feet.
And you'd have to set it back maybe in a different way to comply, or it would stay?
No, we're not asking for a front yard
No, I
setback.
know you're not.
Oh.
But if that were to happen, would you set it back differently, or it could stay where it is as of right?
As of right, we could move it back.
Okay, you could even go back?
Yeah, because, we have plenty of rear yard.
Okay, thanks.
Is there any more questions?
No, did you have?
Oh, yeah, I guess, with the petitions they have, I think they have about 26 or so. We have about 13. Just showing you on the map, we have both our adjacent neighbors and the people at the back. Only one person at the back did not sign. I'll just show you. So that green area there they're in support of our application.
Okay.
So compliance with the bylaw would not allow you to have a usable home? Given the small, what you're suggesting is a small amount?
The difference will affect the bedroom. We won't have a 4-bedroom, which it's a younger family moving into the neighborhood, and a 4-bedroom is essential for them. And I feel like when new families come into the community, living trends have changed, and the official plan has allowed for that. to give room for change. And I understand the neighbors have been living here for a very long time. This area is not designated. It's something that is still open for change, and the bylaws have given us that permission to, and, yeah, sorry.
The moving back or the alignment of the back area of the houses, based on what the opposition has maintained, would change the character of the neighborhood as it's stated. They also maintain that by doing so, there would be a domino effect as a result of allowing one to go through or some. Or how do you address these things to the appeasement of, why should we allow you to do this?
Well, the bylaw allows our house to be placed where it is. Even if I were to remove that small percentage, I can still move the house back if I wanted to. I'm not forced to keep the house in line with the houses next door. And by law, I wouldn't even have to come to the committee. I can build the house and place it where I want, and it'll do the same effect. I understand they're trying to keep all the houses in line, but all these houses are at least 50 years old, and of course there's going to be change, like there has been throughout the entire city. And we're not asking for much as the planners and everyone here. It's very minor. And of course, if you have neighbors that are going out to get everybody's sign and trying to forbid people from building what the bylaw allows, then of course, then it's going to be hard to build on the street. So this is the information I got from the homeowners, how they're very involved in the neighborhood, and they're just getting a lot of people to back them up.
Okay, so you're saying that even if you didn't have a lot, let's say you had no minor variance.
Yeah.
You're saying that you could push the house back as far as it is going with the variances without needing a rear yard variance?
Yep.
So you could push it back basically in line with where
the house is.
Where that little nook piece is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could push the whole wall back.
And you
And
wouldn't need
you'd
any
have no
variance?
variances.
No, not at all.
Backyard line setback, you wouldn't need setback?
No, we have
Or
plenty
no
of space because
or no
we,
landscaping?
No landscaping?
yeah, the landscaping is calculated at the main wall.
I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry.
If, following on what we were talking about, if you didn't need any variances, you're suggesting to us that you could still push the house back to the same place it is
Yeah,
now?
yes.
Without needing any variances with respect to rear yard setback or rear yard landscaping? Is that what you're indicating to us?
Yes.
Okay.
I can confirm it. I can confirm it.
I'm just confirming that we've heard you,
Yep.
what you've said correctly.
So if we didn't do anything today, if we didn't approve your application, you can go and do whatever you want to do?
Yes, exactly, because we comply with the building length and we comply with the building depth. The building depth is calculated from the front yard setback. And so we have up to 19 meters to go back with a one-story rear addition. As long as we don't go into the 7.5 rear yard setback, we'll be okay.
But if you move the house back somewhat, you'd infringe on that 7.5?
No, because if you look at the dimensions, we have more than 7.5 right now.
So even if they he's saying even if they cut off and didn't need the variances, made the house smaller, if they chose to put it back further on the lot, that's what he's suggesting. Okay, any further questions? Okay, thank you. We're in committee, discussion or motion?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm very sympathetic to the neighbors. I actually live in a 1.5-story house and bungalow area myself, and we've had similar issues, but as of right, the builder can build a 2-story home, which is in massing going to look very similar to what we have before us. In terms of the variances that the committee looks at, in my opinion, they're minor variances. I know it's it's a big change to the neighborhood, but as I said, he could build as of right tomorrow without the variances, and it would look the front would probably look the same, and the only thing is a piece would come off the back.
I'm going to put the word in for character of the community, though. I mean, this is one of the few pockets of these post-war bungalows that really has not had the intrusion of larger structures yet. So if there were a line to be drawn that
I agree.
that the character of this community is smaller than permitted and any increase is excessive, this would be a place to draw it.
Agreed. The character is a consideration. I guess my point is if these variances go away, the character will be impacted.
As ever in these discussions, there is also the consideration of housing forms, diversity of housing forms, and we are losing these bungalows.
Yeah, no question. As well as the post-war 1.5 stories.
I think the neighbors have made quite a discussion, quite a case for character. They talk about changing character, they talk about the development of character and the desirability for character, and the fact that that the effect of such would result in character, the domino effect based on character downfall.
I guess one of the challenges, and we heard the evidence, both sides is you have that, and then you also have that even if these variances were not required, what could be built and where it would be situated on the lot could still represent a major departure from what is currently built form, and that wouldn't need a permission as well. So it's how do you balance?
This is one of the few areas where I can confidently say there hasn't been an intrusion of the as of right, but not really in character, bigger, newer houses. They're not there yet. And this is not the first time even this panel has seen an application.
There are some further afield, but not on this.
Yeah. In this general area, we've seen a few attempts to introduce larger scale houses, and
It's a severance application
yeah,
around here.
and none of it has succeeded yet. We're not precedent based, but I'm concerned about what this does to the stability. I feel like this is not an area in transition yet. This remains a stable neighborhood, and I don't think that necessarily the first real transitional project should be already a variance.
It should be transition as of right versus transition as
If
of
the transition is going to start, I think it probably should start as
of right.
Right, yeah. I agree with that. Madam Chair, I'm going to ask that we refuse this application because the application itself is not an application of right, and it infringes on the character of the neighborhood.
I'll second that.
Okay. This is a motion to refuse the application by Mr. Russell, seconded by Mr. Carlson. All in favor? Opposed? And I'll abstain. So the application is refused. Okay, sorry we're a little bit behind this afternoon, but I'm going to now vet the 2:30 agenda, and then we'll take a break for 5 minutes and come back. So, okay, I'll do 2:30 and 3:30. Okay. So, number 30, 5 Coxwell Boulevard, agent or applicant? Anyone in interest? Okay. 31, 39 CEDARCREST Boulevard, agent or applicant? Anyone in interest? Okay. 32, 9 Connaught Avenue, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? 33, 129 Coleridge Avenue, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? 34, 31 Jackman Avenue, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? 35, 91 Cadorna Avenue, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? Okay. 36, 10 Orley Avenue, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? 37, 980 Logan Avenue, agent. Anyone in interest? 38, 95 Highfield Road, agent, applicant. Anybody in interest? Okay. And then for the 330 slot, 39 A, B, and C, 7 Everest Crescent, agent or applicant. Thank you. Anyone in interest? Okay, 40 A, B, and C, 120 Pape Avenue, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? 41 105 Robinson Street, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? Pardon? Do you wish to speak? Okay, so we won't hold that because it's more. 42, 1222 to 1224 Young, agent or applicant. Anyone in interest? Okay, so nothing held in those two time slots. So we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll be back. Thank you.
feel bad. God, I really have it. I'll never do it again.
Okay, we're back in session. So number 30, 5 COXWELL Boulevard. So just as you get settled, let people know that the committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, map illustrating other variances approved with similar floor space indexes, 11 photographs of abutting and neighboring property showing precedent, copy of zoning review with explanation of variances received from the agent, staff report from acting supervisor, tree protection and plan review, urban forestry, 18 form letters and support signed by owners and occupants of COXWELL Boulevard, Ralston Avenue, Barbara Crescent, and O'Connor Drive. And if we could have your name, please, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Hudson of Hudson Architecture. I'm the agent for the owner.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Panel, do you need a presentation or would you like to proceed to questions? Okay, any questions?
Yeah.
Now you're going to put in a basement. Why don't you need any further parking?
Parking? We do. One of the variances is for an additional, under the old and the new bylaw, is that we're providing one, and that technically we would need two.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's variance 1, and number 2 under the old bylaw.
Am I correct in thinking that on-street parking is available?
There's actually quite a bit. We're also on 2 pretty busy transit streets, O'Connor and Coxwell itself. So yeah, there's a fair amount of parking nearby.
Any other questions, panel members? No. Okay, so we're in committee. Discussion or motion, please?
No, this is the exact opposite of the last one. This is just about the last of the bungalows left, and the proposal is far more in keeping with the community. So, is barring other comments, yes.
I'll support that with forestry number 1.
Okay. So a motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Ms. Holman for approval of the application, subject to forestry condition number 1. All in favor? Application's been approved on that.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Number 31, 39 CEDARCREST Boulevard. The committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and 3 form letters in support signed by owners and occupants of 3741 CEDARCREST Boulevard and 153 Glen Albert Drive. If we could have your name, please, sir.
My name is George Gaya. I'm the agent.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation or proceed to questions?
I just need some clarification against number 1. The second story addition alters the main front wall that faces the street. I just need some clarification.
I'm the agent and also the owner for the property. And the reason because I require a second unit is because my in-laws, they want to move with us, and just for cultural reasons, we like to have a different kind of life.
But why does it need a change to the front wall?
Oh, just it's the front facade. It's just exactly nothing more than that.
Design of the...
And actually, the existing facade is going to stay as...
It's the overhang on the second floor.
Absolutely.
Let's see. That's why the wall's coming out a bit on the second, just on the second structure. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We're in committee. Discussion or motion?
The only variance of substance under the new bylaw is the front wall issue. The addition itself is as of right, and variances under the old bylaw are entirely appropriate, so I'm prepared to move approval.
Okay.
Move approval of the application, as I believe represents a desirable development for the site and is within the purpose of the bylaw and OP.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Okay, so a motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Mr. Russell for approval of the application. All in favor? Your
Thank you.
application's approved. Number 32, 9 CONNAUGHT Avenue. The committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, staff reports from the Director of Community Planning, Toronto and East York District, from the Development Officer, Property Planning and Development, Toronto Transit Commission, from the Planner of the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, and correspondence and support from 13 CONNAUGHT Avenue. We can have your name, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Louis Bahania, the authorized agent.
Okay. Committee members, do you need a presentation or do you proceed to questions? Okay, any questions then, committee members?
So this is front porch enclosure. Yeah, so I would move approval of the application as it is extremely minor in nature and is appropriate to the site, including the condition outlined in the planning report that the setback be restricted to the extensions in drawings A100, A400, A401.
All right. Seconder? Okay. Okay, so this motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Mr. Russell for approval of the application subject to the conditions outlined in the planning staff report.
Correct.
All in favor? Your application is approved on the condition. Number 33, 129 Coleridge Avenue. Please come forward. Thank you. The committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, staff reports from the manager, right-of-way management, transportation services, and the acting supervisor, tree protection and plan review, urban forestry. Can we have your name, please?
Good evening, members of the committee. My name is Sude Salehin, and I'm the agent of the owners.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, do we need a presentation, or do you want to proceed to questions? Okay, so proceed to questions.
Should, what's the end of this presently with the landscape? What's percentage?
So I think required bylaw says 70% needs to be soft landscape, and we're proposing 54%.
What is there now?
What's the reason?
What is existing?
What's existing? Actually, to be honest with you, I would not know that. Let me take a look at that. I can't give you an exact number. I want to say the existing is probably around 75%.
So you're taking away landscaping?
Yes, we are taking away landscaping. That's correct, because we're adding steps, and we're adding a concrete walkway to the steps, and we're actually keeping the existing concrete pad that's in front of the house.
Have you seen the report from Transportation Services?
Yes.
Talking about the driveway?
Yes.
And? Because it's not...
They're not allowed to park there.
Yes, so, but your plans suggest that there's...
No parking. We're not, the zoning examiner actually told us clearly that we're not allowed to park there anymore. The clients actually, the owners do park in that area where it says existing asphalt area to remain. They do park there. The zoning examiner said he will cross it out, and they're not allowed to park there. And the
So
owners do.
You understand that, so how does, is there parking available on the street by
So
permit?
the owners are actually looking into getting boulevard pass, boulevard parking.
Front yard parking?
Front yard parking on the street parking.
Oh, street parking.
Yes, they are looking into getting a permit, yeah, street parking.
And is their permits still permitted? Have they found out that information yet?
They don't have any, they're just in the process of doing the application, so we were told that it takes a while, but both owners are looking into getting that done. But the main reason they don't want to they don't want to demolish that front parking pad or concrete pad is that also their budget, they don't want to do much of front landscape. At this point, they want to build the house and then do the front landscape after. That's why they asked to.
There is a condition being recommended by the transportation.
Yeah.
Right? But,
The condition strictly only relates to the curb.
well, the curb cut and to restore soft landscaping,
Yeah.
except for the walkway. So that's a condition that we're being asked to put on.
Sure, right.
What percentage should be after that condition? Do we know what the percentage on soft, we don't.
I guess with the conditions, we don't have to worry about soft landscaping issue and variance number one then.
I don't think we can strike the variance. We don't really know what the percentage would be. I do agree, though, that with the condition, it's clear that there's actually an improvement.
Yeah. Which is city space anyway. So it wouldn't change the landscaping percentage.
Nobody.
Sorry?
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, we could phrase the condition to be front yard landscaping, front yard asphalt, except walkway to be restored to soft landscaping.
Excuse me, sir, may I? I do have a list of notice of decisions from the past within 1 kilometer around our site. Examples that they were given, smaller front yard landscape, yeah, soft landscape. Yes, for sure. I have actually highlighted that as well as no parking.
Is it a map?
No, it's not a map. I have actually printed them and I've highlighted. Do you want me to?
A map that shows us where
I don't have a map, but they're all within 1 kilometer of the site. I have the addresses if,
Okay.
or I can provide you.
Okay, you can give them to us. Just, are there any on the street itself?
No, nothing on our street.
What's the closest Kilometer's quite a long distance.
1 kilometer is quite, yeah.
What's the closest?
What's the closest one? I would not know.
On Woodbine, anything on Cedarvale?
Let me just quickly.
Even.
Or Salmon?
I'm looking for the biggest number that actually kind of strike me.
Yeah, unless we have an idea of where they are on a key map, it's very difficult for us to.
It's difficult to, I know, I understand. So there is one on, it's 19 Crew Avenue, CREWE. I don't have a map, sorry.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not helpful at all.
Yeah. So they have asked for 25%.
Unless we know where that is.
Yeah.
It's difficult for us to assess whether or not
Did I
it's.
pull it up on my phone? Would that help?
Yeah. That's true. No, I don't, no.
On my phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you can put it on top.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Okay. In future, you really need to.
Yes, for sure. You know, again, because these are all within a kilometer, I thought it.
Kilometer's a long way.
We're in committee.
She's pulling up the address on her phone.
Still not going to help us unless it's on a map.
Because our key map, in this case, is actually quite large, so. So where is that, though?
That's almost Westlake and.
Where's your property then? Because Westlake's quite a bit over. Which property? The property that you want to use as a comparison? And where's your property? Well, can you just scroll out from there?
I mean, if you can't see them.
Yeah, no, that's
just
a long
too
way
far.
away. Where's your property? Quite a ways away.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other questions, panel members? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anything else that you want to say?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Okay, so we're in committee, discussion or motion?
Our inclination is to approve, but with the condition that front pad be restored to soft landscaping. I mean, the parking is not going to be permitted anyway. And that variance is an issue.
Along with forestry condition number 3 and the transportation.
I'll second. If that's a motion, I'll second it.
So would move approval of the application, subject to forestry condition number 3, and to condition that the curb cut must be restored to a full-faced curb, satisfaction of,
At no cost.
at no cost to the city, to satisfaction of right-of-way management, and that the associated front parking pad be restored to soft landscaping.
Within the city boulevard. It's,
Yeah. It's not gonna, no, that's the thing, it's not gonna, I don't think we should change the variance for it, but the condition should be
Right.
that the parking pad be restored.
There's Okay, so that's a motion by Mr. Carlson, second by Ms. Omen for approval of the application subject to forestry condition number 3, the condition in the transportation report of March 28th, in addition to the restoring of the existing front parking pad to soft landscaping. All in approval? Okay, you're approved.
Okay,
On
thank
those conditions.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
31 Jackman Avenue. Please, thank you. The committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Committee members, do we need a presentation or move to questions? Okay, any questions then? Your name, sir? I should
Trevor
get that
Keir,
first.
the agent for the owner.
Okay, thank you. So do we have any questions of Mr. Keir?
Mr. Keir, you grant some tool, you're looking for first base index of 0.6.
That's right.
The bylaw says 0.35, that's quite a stretch.
The existing is 0.54.
Landscape, moving soft landscape from 50% to
43.
43%. Can you explain why you need cutting?
Why it needs to be cut? Because it's a very small backyard. There's the only hard landscaping or the only hard surface that we'll have is the driveway on half of the double garage. So we've already taken away the landscaping in front of the other door of the garage because it's not used. And it's just a product of the fact that there's a double garage there, and that's the amount of soft landscaping that remains.
Thank you. Any further questions, panel members?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so we're in, any further questions? Okay, so we're in committee, discussion or motion?
Through you, Madam Chair, I think what's being proposed is not out of character with the neighborhood. There are a lot of other homes that have additions. A couple of them are a little bit longer, so this is not really, doesn't appear to be going past that. So I would move approval of the application as I feel it meets the 4 tests.
Anyone second that motion? Okay. So a motion by Ms. Omen, seconded by Mr. Russell for approval of the application. All in favor? Your application's approved.
Thank you.
Number 35, 91 Cardona Avenue. Cadorna, I can't pronounce that. Copy plan of survey site, the committee asked before it. Copy plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and correspondence in opposition from 93 Cadorna Avenue. If we could have, when you get back to the podium, your name, please, and address. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Navid Arbabi. I'm the agent on behalf of the owner of 91 Cadorna Avenue.
Members, do we need a presentation, or would you like to proceed to questions? Okay, so any other panel members have questions? Okay, fine, we're in committee. Discussion or motion, please?
And it's not contrary to the City of Toronto bylaws.
I'll second that. I would just add that there are a lot of 2-story homes that are already on the street, so that this would be in keeping with the transition that's happening.
So on a motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Ms. Omen, for approval of the application, all in favor? Your application's approved.
Thank you.
Number 36, 10 Orley Avenue. The committee has before it a copy of a plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, 6 form letters in support from 5, 7, 9, and 11 Orley Avenue, 26 Orley Avenue, and 147 Oak Park Avenue. If we could please have your name?
CRESCENT, agent for the owner.
Panel members, need a presentation or questions? Okay, so questions, please, if any.
I think it's pretty straightforward application.
Is there any other, from a lot coverage perspective, is there others who have received the variances you're requesting?
Not that I know of. I haven't done any research for the area. I'm assuming so. I didn't bother because I didn't
Very
think
helpful.
we're not looking for that much, and
Well, it's still a variance, though.
I understand.
You should really come prepared with information to support your application.
Just in case somebody's here who want to oppose you, you want to justify what you have. So it's in the future.
I apologize.
In the future, make sure you get prepared.
I will.
Because there's not a definition under the Planning Act of not that much.
Not that much.
Understood.
I know, but there's no definition of minor.
Or excessively minor.
Or really minor, I think.
Any questions of the applicant?
No, they're not. I think it's, he has the support of a good percentage of the neighborhood around him on Logan and Arundel. Oh, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Orley.
Orley, yeah. So I'm satisfied that this is really minor.
Have you chatted with your immediate neighbors?
Yes,
Do they have a position?
they don't.
Not the,
6 letters and stuff.
yeah, just
Their support.
great neighbors.
Are we in committee or?
Yeah, okay.
I would just add that, again, there are a lot of, there's several two-story homes that have been built already, so I don't think that what's being proposed is out of character with the transition. Plus, the existing garage is going to be maintained. So.
Is that a motion?
I thought Mr. Russell moved
Oh,
it,
yes.
so
sorry.
I will second it if
Okay.
you want to move it.
Second, moved by acceptance.
So you're going to move the motion?
Yeah, the motion
Okay,
is within
so
the planning
I'm
act.
sorry I missed that, Mr. Russell. Apologize. Moved by Mr. Russell, seconded by Ms. Holman. All in favor? Your application's approved.
Thank you very much.
Number 37, 980 Logan Avenue. The committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, correspondence from Eric Calhoun, agent, and assistant planner, community planning regarding revisions as per the planning comments, and revised drawings received March 28th. Staff report from the Director of Community Planning, Toronto and East York, received March 28th. 13 form letters in support, signed by owners of occupants of 962, 968, 974, 976, 978, 979, 987, 992, 995 Logan, and 93 and 101 Arundel, and 985 Logan and 95 Arundel. Could just have your name for the record, please.
My name's Eric Calhoun. I'm the agent for the owners of 980 Logan.
Okay. Committee members, do you need a presentation or questions? Questions?
Are you making the revisions, or
I'm sorry?
are you making revisions?
Yes, we are making revisions. You should have revised drawings. And
We
are-
do, but the note, we still are dealing with the original notice, so we need you to make the revision.
So we're no longer looking for variance number 1 or variance number 5. Just 2, 3, and 4 remain.
Okay.
So we worked pretty closely with planning to make sure we addressed all their concerns. You should have revised drawings that
Yeah,
show
we
a
do
revised
have-
scheme.
yeah, we do.
We eliminated those 2 variances. We also have verbal support from 977, 971, 964A, and 95 Arundel. And we've talked to our attached neighbors at 980A, and they have no objections.
Okay.
We've also done the research and have, for variance number 3, the depth, for the same or lesser allowable depth, we have 9 examples within 500 meters. And for the FSI, for the same or lesser allowable FSI, we have 46 examples of larger numbers than we are having been granted.
And what geographic parameters?
500 meters.
Sorry, I missed that. Thank you.
I want to congratulate you that you've worked very hard in the neighborhood.
That's my clients. Thank you.
That makes our life easier and make your life easier. Madam Chair, I think with...
So any other questions?
No other question. No other.
Okay, so we're in committee.
Yeah, I think with the elimination of variance number 5 were the ones, exactly which ones I had problems with before. I think all the others, the other 3 variances are minor. And I would recommend that we accept this application with the staff report to ensure that all are in place. And that this report itself has met the 4 tests, and it's in agreement with the under bylaw. So I would move that if my friends don't have anything else to change or any questions to ask, that we.
I would be prepared to second it, Mr. Russell, if you're moving it as amended and then including the condition number 2, that it be constructed substantially in accordance with the plans, because he's made the revisions asked for in the report.
Yes, so the site plans, you have a.
Yeah, so we have them. We have them. They're part of the
Planning just have one other
Of
condition.
March 28, 2019.
Yes, you have those revised.
We have those, yeah.
So you're seconding?
I'll second
Okay.
it.
So that's a motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Ms. Omen, for approval of the application as amended, subject to condition number 2 in the planning staff report of March 28th. All in favor? Your application as amended on that condition is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 38, 95 Highfield Road. The committee has before it a copy of a draft plan of survey, copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, email correspondence from the Assistant Planner, Community Planning, City Planning, Toronto and East York District, external liaison with the Right-of-Way Control Center, Bell Canada, staff reports from the Manager, Development Engineering, Engineering and Construction Services, Toronto and East York District, Acting Supervisor, Tree Protection and Plan Review, Urban Forestry, and correspondence from Mr. Bruner at 300 Westlake Avenue. Did I read the right? I read the wrong one. So let's go back.
Seemed excessive
Let's
for
go
what we're
back
doing.
in the minute and.
I didn't see those on the
I was
AIC.
one ahead of myself. Maybe I won't have to repeat it now the next time.
Look how short it is.
95 Highfield Road. The
You have
committee
the
has
correct
before it
address.
Committee of Plan of Survey, Site Plan, Floor Plans, and Elevations.
That's it.
Correspondence and concern or interest from Brent Deacon at 91 Highfield Road. I'm on the right application this time?
No, he's now at the right place. Before he
Thank
thought
you.
he was somewhere else.
Sir, with my apologies, I now ask you for your name.
Enzo Lacaseno.
Thank you. Okay, panel members, any questions or do you want a presentation or just want a presentation?
No presentation.
No presentation.
So any questions?
No, I have no questions.
All right, if we're in committee, Madam Chair, this is a very straightforward application. I believe some of these conditions are existing. So I would be prepared to move approval of the application and just add that across the street, they're predominantly 2-story houses, so it's not an introduction of, a second floor on the street.
I think, and the concerns outlined by 91 would be addressed through other means. Okay. That's
So that's my motion. I think it meets the 4 tests and fits within the character of the neighborhood.
Does anyone
Second
second
it.
that? Okay, so for 95 Highfield Road, we have a motion by Ms. Omen to approve the application, seconded by Mr. Russell. All in favor? It's approved. Thank you. I'm sorry for
Forestry did not have any
that. No, there was no
conditions?
forestry condition.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sorry about that.
Plant trees there,
We can,
No, just that we.
You want us to find?
We have, we have an application in with forestry. I'm just surprised they haven't.
Maybe it's the standard, or maybe they forgot to tick it off.
Yeah, maybe they forgot to take it out, so.
Well, we have an application in with them anyway, so.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
there's nothing here.
sorry for the initial error.
Make it a condition. It's already enough.
Now we'll call number 39. And I don't think I'll repeat all of that I just read. Hopefully, everybody noted that. So this is 7 Everett Crescent. And your name for the record, please.
Yes, hi. My name is Leo Mastonria. I'm the agent for the owners at 7 Everett. We're here today to sever the lot and construct 2 dwellings. Planning has no concerns. Development and engineering have no concerns, and we do agree to their conditions. Forestry has no concerns. Bell Canada has no concerns, and we do agree to their conditions. We spoke to all the neighbors in the area, and they have no concerns. This area is in transition, and I think our variances are consistent with the built form and with what's been approved here at the committee. And I believe that this does meet the 4 tests, and it will not have any negative impact on the neighborhood. And if you would like, I can prepare, I have a presentation ready to go.
But Mr. Messenger, forestry has condition number.
We're okay with their conditions.
Condition number 3.
Yes.
And both of them.
Pardon? Yep.
And
We're fine with we're fine with all the conditions.
Oh, you said forestry had no concern, but they have.
No, they had no concerns, but we're okay with their conditions.
They also, okay.
Yes.
You're requesting the creation of 2 undersized lots.
Well, the undersized lots are also consistent. We're not undersized by much.
I was just going to ask whether or not you have it. Is that lot pattern or lot size
Yes. Yes, it's consistent.
present in the neighborhood?
Yes, it is. We're shy of, our frontage complies. Our lot area, in one of them is short 3.3 meters, and the other one is approximately about 11 meters. And if you'd like, I could show you on the overhead what's been approved, and also I did a lot study.
Is number 11 close to what you're proposing? That number 11 actually looked small. Yeah, the lot, is it similar in what you're proposing, the lot size?
Which,
Number 11, Everett.
our lot is consistent with what's been approved. I have, for example, I have a lot study, if you'd like to see, I could pull it up on the chart. All the ones highlighted in orange are smaller lots than what we're asking. In addition, there's an approval, which was on Chisholm, which is approved at much smaller lots than what we're asking.
Where's Chisholm? I'm sorry.
Chisholm is around the corner. All these decisions I have are within 500 meters of the
Is
subject
it on the map that's
property.
underneath here? Chisholm?
Not on this map, but is it, my research was all within 500 meters of the subject property. So on Oak Park, on the Gled Hill, Everett, I have, if you'd like, I have a complete,
There's 4 other lots on Everett, other than what you're proposing, or there's 5 other lots on Everett.
yeah, because Everett curves on that angle.
Is it 6? I can't tell.
So that's 3, 5, 7, 9. So lot number 3 is the corner lot, which I have a photo of.
Okay, but we're just the ones that are smaller than,
The ones that are smaller are all the ones highlighted in orange. They're all within a block of each other. And we're only short, like in one of them.
but on just Yvonne and Everett, there's that many that are the size that you're proposing?
They're similar.
What's similar? I can't read your writing in terms of size.
Those are the addresses
Oh.
that I've highlighted, right? The orange are all smaller lots.
That's my point. So that's Everett.
Yes.
So there's that many lots on Everett are
Yes.
smaller lots than you're
Correct.
proposing to create?
Yes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots
Okay.
on Everett.
Around the corner from your property.
But that is Everett.
Yeah, no, I'm just,
The area is all in transition. Our frontage complies, our lots are consistent, our variances are also all consistent. I have a package I can even give to you so you can see the decisions which were also approved here at the committee. And I have photo of similar.
so what about heights and,
I have decisions on all that if you'd like.
okay, do you have a map that shows where those decisions relate to in terms of a property?
These
Versus just-
decisions are all within 500 meters of the subject property. I have it for height, floor area as high as 1 point.
Doubt it all?
I didn't map them out, I just highlighted them on a package. If you like, I could,
No, I'll let you file what you want to file. It's just be helpful sometimes to, it's very difficult to just kind of.
I didn't want to make a copy, there's like.
No, I understand that part, but in terms of in future, sometimes either in a chart, or it's beneficial if you can plot it, because it's hard for us to review this at the last minute and try to spatially see where they are in accordance with what you're presenting.
They're all within 500 years of the subject property.
Okay.
Other than
That'd be
lot
helpful, thank
area, on the ones that are highlighted in orange,
Yes?
did they get any of the other variances that you're asking for? For example, lot coverage or, do any of those fit within this pile of examples you just gave?
There should be, yes. If you go through them, all the,
So all the lots that you're noting there, are they existing homes that haven't been dealt with and were already on small lots, or are they new builds where new lots have been?
some of them are already built form and some of them are new. There's one actually right around the corner on Wallington, and the decision is very, very similar to what we're asking for as far as the variances are concerned.
Is that one that's being,
That's the one that's under
Right now?
construction, yeah. It's, if you look on page 32, they actually have 105% approved GFA. And if you look through that whole package, all the variances are very consistent with what's being approved here at the committee and the built form. I believe it's a good opportunity to create 2 lots when the city's asking for affordable housing. And I do believe it does meet the 4 tests.
What do you mean affordable housing?
Well,
What do you?
well, in consideration, if we were to build
Additional
one
housing
home,
units?
we're adding another lot. We're creating a,
Affordable housing is right. Mr. Messenger, what the committee is trying to get you to do is to, in a mapping situation, is to set out all these things, these parameters. So in future, when you appear, you can set out where there's been an adjustment to GFA, where there's adjustment to lot areas, there's lot coverage.
well, I was more concerned with the lot size, so that's why I did this map here. And then as far as the variances, I presented what package you have in front of you, so you could see that there were similar variances approved for height, for side yard setbacks.
but are we
But
looking,
they're all within 500 meters of the subject property, because that's what the search,
but as you can appreciate, we're looking at them in tandem. That's lot size plus the variances, right?
I do appreciate that, but also it is consistent with what's been approved. I do think it's a great opportunity to add an additional lot. And like I said, planning has no concerns. Development and engineering have no concerns. They have conditions which we agree upon. Neighbors have no concerns, and we've done it in the area. There's actually a house right around the corner on Gladhill that we did the exact same thing.
Not this. It's less.
That's very, very similar to our proposal, and that's on Gladhill,
That's a few blocks over off.
a few blocks over, correct? All within 500 meters of the subject property.
That's off Lumsden. That's on the other side of Lumsden.
It's right on the corner, right?
As you go, it's not on the corner.
It's one, that's the corner house, the one to the left.
And then that's-
And those are the first two in off of south of Lumsden. Also, on the similar houses we've done to the north of Lumsden.
So is that one on Oak Park, that one you just showed? Was that on Oak Park?
No, this one is on Oak Park. This one's on Oak Park, 290. This one is also on Oak Park.
That's not a new a new bill.
The three-story.
Yeah, okay.
This is also on Oak Park. And there's also some, this is another one that's on Oak Park right at the corner, facing the park. So I was just trying to show the modern.
Yeah, but are the lot sizes?
No, the
Lot
pictures I showed
areas?
just for the modern
Okay.
look.
Yeah.
But the one on Gladhill is similar size.
So was that a severance?
Yes.
And what are the lot areas of those homes?
The lot areas did comply. They were 185, actually, exactly.
They didn't comply? Or
They did.
They did comply, so they weren't undersized lots?
No.
Okay.
But their frontage is smaller than ours. Those frontages were 6. Ours are 6.13 and 6. We have larger frontages.
Did they need height and FSIs?
Yes.
So is there, and I'm sorry if you've said this already, so excuse me if I'm making you repeat yourself. Any severances that have been granted for the lot areas that you're requesting?
Yes.
For an existing building?
Yes, on Chisholm.
So that, okay.
This is all within 500 meters. Those lots are smaller than what we're asking. They're 167 and 157. We have 181 and 170.
172.49.
Right, so our 181, and it's only because of the sloping of the road that one is bigger than the other, because of the road's a little bit on an angle. So we're only off by like less than 3 square meters on the area on the one, and a little bit more on the other, less than 10. And these are less than that. And it was approved recently. On 2009.
I'm satisfied with the lot area, but I want to know something about the floor space index.
Yes.
You have at 0.9 to give us 155.94 meters square. What about, where else in the neighborhood can you find that?
Right number 40 Wallington
Around
was approved at 105%. I have it right here. So 40 Wallington, which is right here. It's the second house. approved at 105%. I have the decision in that package.
On a larger lot, right?
Pardon?
It didn't come in for lot area, though.
No.
Okay, so it's on a larger lot. It's on a lot that's compliant, let's put it that way. Size, area-wise.
Yes.
What about the heights that you're asking for? How does that fit in with the others in the neighborhood?
It is consistent. We did get the same height on Glad Hill, the one photo I showed you with the split lot. And in that package, there's at least 6 or 7 that have higher main wall heights than we have. But we do comply with the overall height.
8.3?
Yes.
I think I'm pretty well touched on all the years. I'm looking for Madam Chair. And I don't think I have any more questions.
Yeah, height is 8.3.
Yeah.
That's not a wall variance, that's.
The height variance.
Is that height variance?
So, I'm sorry, your comments about the height, you said it complied?
Our overall height at 8.5 complies. Our main wall height does not comply.
Well, that's not what the variance
variance
says. Variance says that you need a height of 8.3. Doesn't say wall height
There's no wall height.
On both of them.
on both of them.
Hang on, let me see. Hang on one sec.
Doesn't talk about wall height anywhere.
No.
That's the height of the dwelling.
Okay, the height, okay, so the height of the, because it's a flat roof though, right?
No.
When it's a flat roof, it's 7.2, but the height is actually 8.5.
8.3.
No. What's allowed in this area is 8.5.
Yeah, with a peaked roof.
If it's a peaked roof, correct. So on a flat, it's 8.3, but in that package, there's at least 6 or 7 that have higher than 8.3.
And they're flat roof?
Yes. Glad Hill, for example, the photo that I had with the split lot, that had 8.4.
When I went to do a site visit,
Yes.
it seemed this is a lot of house on the lot to put houses of this size on that lot, and driving around that neighborhood, I found it difficult to find another example that would be comparable.
Well, Glad Hill,
I may have missed some, but I'm just saying, when I looked at the lot, the proposed lot, I saw the ones on the
Glad Hill.
you showed us.
Those are exactly the same.
Well, but you said that the lot sizes were,
They they complied, but we're shy like 3 square meters
well, on one,
on one and 9 on the other.
well, 12 on the other.
I know it's a flat roof, but why can't you comply with the height?
Pardon?
Why can you not comply with the height?
Because of the design, because we have to go over the garage, it limits us to have that room above the garage, right? So if we look at the drawings, which I have here.
Floor has to be so high.
Correct. So in order to, because we could do it without the living room, but it doesn't really make sense to waste that space. So if we look from the front. So the only reason I cannot lower it is because we have the garage, and then you have your ground floor, which is above the garage, and then you have your second floor. And we're not exceeding, like, we're going with like minimum. We only have 8 feet, 8-foot ceilings. So we tried to reduce it as much as possible. We don't have high ceilings. We have 8 feet on this, above the garage, and 8 feet on the second. So it's not like we're asking for, because if I could reduce it a little bit, I would have. But again, planning didn't have any concerns because they do realize that it is comparable with decisions that were approved in the area. If it was overdevelopment, the planning department would have maybe make some adjustments.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We're in committee, discussion or a motion?
I actually do accept that the lot form is appropriate, but not for a house this size. These proposed structures exceed every direction. They're too high, they're too large, the floor space, and then the parking spaces are undersized. The bylaw does not anticipate a house this size on a lot this small.
The other ones, how do you compare to the other ones in the neighborhood?
Well, we didn't get a comparison in terms of what lot sizes those houses are on either, so. And plus, I still don't have a good sense of how close they are, other than the one on, what is it, Wallington, which is on a compliant lot, not an undersized lot.
Yes,
So I think one of the things is also I get a sense of something that's comparable that has the combination of variances requested and the lot area, not a lot area here and a height there.
charting was required.
To be one of those situations where none of the individual variances are any particular issue until you realize that they are exceeding the requirements in every direction. The cumulative effect is that the structure is larger than intended.
And I would agree with Mr. Carlson. It's a new build, and there should be a little bit more effort to try to minimize impacts in terms of the structure. The new structures, the flat roof structures, the massing is quite, in your, like, jumps out at you in comparison to what's there, the older structures. So, you know, if we're embracing change, then wherever possible, let's try to mitigate it. I
guess my comment
of
would be-
mixed minds of it on this
Yeah.
one, but I
It's the
agree, it's a lot of
cumulative.
variances that maybe, some of which, in my opinion, could be minimized. And the examples are not that, I mean, they're not like around the corner, they're not on our map. Plus, the examples, do we know what the lot sizes are? No, we don't. And one has the FSI that's high, like, that's maybe comparable. Another has the, how should I say, the height maybe, but did they come before us with all those variances being asked for? I don't know.
This is it, in doing my site visit, I just was finding it difficult to see how structures of this size, two of them were gonna fit on that lot, and that it met the character. That was my observation, but I'm in the hands of the committee. Need a motion if there's no further discussion?
I would move refusal of the variances, as I do not believe them to be within the purpose and intent of the bylaw and official plan.
And the severance?
And the severance cannot be approved without structure. How would I phrase it? My issues with the variances, refused as a whole. Yeah.
So, is anybody seconding that motion?
I'll second it.
So it's a motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Ms. Omen, for refusal of the consent application and refusal of the two variance applications. All in favor? Dissent, Mr. Ruff?
Yeah, dissent.
The application's refused.
Thank you.
Item number 40, 120 Pape Avenue. The committee has before it a copy of a draft plan of survey, copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, covering letter from Janice Robertson, the agent, another letter from Janice Robertson, including revised floor plans and elevations, staff reports from the manager, development, engineering, and construction services, Toronto and East York District, report from the acting supervisor, tree protection and plan review, urban forestry, 8 form letters in support, signed by the owners and occupants of 116, 125, 135 Pape Avenue and 23 Boston Avenue, 118, Pape Avenue, 25 Boston, and 122 Pape. And, thank you. And if we could have your name for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, members of committee. I'm Janice Robinson of Goldberg Group, representing the owners of 120 Pape Avenue. This is a proposed redevelopment to sever the property into 2 lots with frontages. One lot is 6.4 meters in frontage. The other one is 4.88 meters, and to construct 3-story semi-detached dwellings on the newly created lots. The existing detached garage in the rear on the lane will be maintained and renovated. The owners are a brother and sister. The brother and his family, who are here today, are going to live in the bigger house. The baby, oh, there's the baby over there. And the sister is going to live in the smaller one. On part 1, which is A1105, that's the one that I wrote in with the revisions to the plan. So for that lot, there's variances for lot frontage and area and a variance for floor space index. The revisions to the plans were to add step backs on the 2nd and 3rd stories at the rear, and that was at the request of community planning. So the variance for floor space index, I'm reducing that from 0.92 to 0.9. The larger lot.
Do you have the square meter?
Pardon me?
Do you have the square meter amount? I know it's minimal, but.
Oh, I could get that for you. My plan is over there. Do you want me to go get it? Yes.
Thank you. Just getting her plan with the number on it. Did I? No, I said yes, please.
No, sir.
I didn't hear myself say that. Thank you, Warren.
You gonna be okay?
This is getting late, eh?
Next time I'll say thank you, Miss Robinson, and then I won't make a mistake.
I didn't notice it, but. It's okay, I'm kind of.
Did you maybe do the calculation quickly when you go? Okay.
For some reason, I don't have that one with me here, so.
It's changing to 0.9.
So
Yeah.
I'll do the calculation in a minute, so.
Yeah, B, 40B. Okay. Karen, sorry?
So the larger lot complies with the lot frontage and the area requirements of the zoning bylaw. There's a variance to permit a floor space index of 0.99 and a variance for the floor area of the garage. In the case of the garage, the area is in existing condition. The garage isn't being extended. The variance for the front yard landscaping is as a result of maintaining the existing driveway in the front yard that's there now. On the south side yard of that larger dwelling, There's a variance to permit a 0.0 setback in the location of the mudroom towards the rear of the property, and a 0.76 meter setback to the other walls. So this is an area that's characterized with it's a tightly knit neighborhood in terms of the built form. There's a lot of very narrow side yards there. In the case of this dwelling, the neighbor at 118, their dwelling is right at 0 setback, and their eaves project onto 120. The proposed, and there's an easement along, you can see on the survey that there's an easement there that's being maintained. So that condition of the other neighbor being at 0, it's been worked out with the neighbor. They have no concerns with the proposed variance of 0 in the location of the mudroom. They've signed one of the letters of support. The property map that I provided shows the letters of support on each side of the property and around. In the area shown in yellow is the location of support. Across the street, down the street, on both sides have supported, and the owners have talked with a lot of neighbors in the neighborhood regarding the proposal. With respect to the frontages and floor space index proposed, I've provided photographs of dwellings in the neighborhood that have greater floor space indexes than proposed, and showing lot frontages that are narrower than what's proposed. The property data that I've provided, the chart, is based on, that's derived from the city's property data, and that shows lot frontages, like the whole first page, and all of those lots are in the immediate vicinity of the property. The whole first page are all lots that are narrower in frontage than the 4.88 proposed. And I give you those examples to, because they represent the lot frontage, the lot fabric in the area, and the floor space indexes, which are also shown on the far right column of the property data, to show you that the built form in the neighborhood does have higher floor space index, similar to what's proposed.
So we're almost at 7 minutes, so I know you took some time to find it.
So it's my submission that the proposed lots and the proposed dwellings will be in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, that the intent of the official plan and bylaw will be maintained. The immediate neighbors have expressed their support, and planning staff are satisfied with the plans as revised.
Thank you. Any questions, panel members?
Ms. Robinson, first I want to say it's good when you get this layout, so we can follow your presentation quite easy, because this is quite easy for me to follow. So we're not so hard on you as we have been on other people. Well, we should be hard on you, just like everybody else. But I want to thank you very much for doing proper layout of the scope of your plan. And so having said that, and since I'm satisfied, but I just want to know about the floor space index, where in 1104 you're seeking 0.99 times the area. How many other houses in this area have a 0.99 times the area of a lot?
Well, there are some, sir, that are 1.06. 105A is 1.06 floor space index, or 1.07. 105B, Pape Avenue, is 1.06.
Thank you very much. My friend is pointing out to me that should read a little fast.
Yeah, there's a couple that are. There's actually quite a few that are. And the other thing I want to point out about this proposed dwelling is otherwise it meets the height. The length is 15 meters. And the reason why you end up with the higher value is because it's measured over 3 stories. 3 stories is permitted, and the height, there's no variances for height here. But there are, if you look on page 2, there's several that are higher. 127 PAPE is 0.98. And then on the next page, there's more. 149 PAPE is 1.07, 151 is 1.04. So there's quite a few examples, like on both of these pages. And these pages don't just show the narrower lot frontages, they also show the floor space index. Now, in some cases, the FSI is based on Committee of Adjustment decisions. And in other cases, it's based on just doing the calculation using the city's property data information on gross floor area of the dwelling and the lot area.
Why is it you have a landscape requirement in 40C and you do not have the same landscape requirement in 40B?
Oh, sorry, are you asking about the landscape variance?
Yeah, why is it you don't have a variance in 40B?
Oh, well, on the smaller lot, there's no variance for front yard landscaping. On the larger lot, there's an existing driveway currently, a curb cut and a driveway on the front yard of that property. So they want to maintain that, and the balance is landscaping. So that results in the, if committee has a concern about that driveway, the driveway isn't something that's, they do have a rear garage. So that's one that if the committee had a concern about, that could be withdrawn.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, that's my questions for Ms. Robinson.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. So we're in committee, discussion or a motion?
Madam Chair, I don't know if my friends have any other further submission. I'm satisfied. I have seen the application and Ms. Robinson has provided proper documentation, explanation of the application. Again, I commend her for having a well document.
Yeah, do you have the GFA number?
Oh, I'll calculate it now.
Oh, see, I got caught. I was safe. Yeah, okay. Why do we need GFA?
Dense area. Looked at it yesterday. The statistics.
It's 158.94 square meters.
Thank you.
So having said all that, and given the GFA, I would move that the application be accepted with the staff report of yes, I do. Engineering, structural engineering, and the standard conditions of consent agreement be put in place for acceptance. Is there any forestry? Urban forestry 3.
Okay, so that's motion by Mr. Russell, seconded by Ms. Omen for approval of the consent and two variances, subject to the development engineering conditions, subject to the standard consent conditions, and subject to forestry condition number 3. All in favor? Your applications are approved.
Thank you.
As amended, sorry.
As
Should have
amended.
said that. I don't think you said that. Okay. Number 41, 105 Robinson Street. Thank you. So the committee has before it a copy of minutes from November 7th public hearing and the materials submitted for consideration at that time, copy of plan of surveys, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, email correspondence from the acting supervisor, right-of-way management, transportation services, Toronto and East York District, staff report from the acting supervisor, tree protection and plan review, urban forestry, a letter in support from the owners or occupants of 37 Claremont. And could we have your name, sir, please?
David Miller, applicant.
Okay, panel members, do you need a presentation or would you like to proceed to questions? Okay, any questions?
I think the owner, number 37, I don't know how quick I can find it, but was talking about a fence between properties. Have you talked to them about?
Well, I just received that email. And I responded, I think it's in the chain, that I'm happy. He just wanted to discuss the fence between us and the finishing of it, and I said I was happy to review that with him. I'm with my neighbors at 103, and I deferred in November because of the fact that we decided together that we should seek to maintain the zero lot line setback on the east side of the property. And we've worked out an agreement of how how the construction and adjacencies will work for that constructionally.
So you,
Yes, the park and now.
Mr. Miller, the rear yard setback, you're moving from 7.5 meters to 4.86 meters?
Yes.
How many other units in the neighborhood have that setback?
Well, both my neighbors to the east have much less to the setback. We're just discussing that. Neither of us know the history, but we imagine that the lots were truncated by the fire department that exists to the south of the lots, because they're all short lots along Robinson in that area, 101, 103, and 105.
We now move over to the issue of the exterior main walls.
Yes.
And you're looking to increase the height of those from 7.5 to 8.15?
Yes, and that's on the east side next to 103, and that's to accommodate, although I saw an earlier presentation, a garage, but the parking portico in this case, and the sort of basement level that rises to the same height of the portico, the parking area, and then the raised ground floor, then the second floor. So if you notice that the building steps down to, there's 3 heights, 9 meters at the very highest, but that equates to the 8.15 aspect of the wall, and 7.30 on the low parapet side, next to my neighbor's backyards on Claremont.
I think there's a report from right-of-way management. You withdrew that? Okay. Okay. And there's urban forestry 3.
Yes, I have to,
Madam Chair, that's my questions for Mr. Robbins, Mr. Miller.
So from an FSI perspective, is there others that have an FSI that you're?
do you know, and I haven't looked up what 101 Robinson has, but for an FSI, but no, I don't have research on it, but I can well imagine that there's quite a few of them that,
And is that was a greater FSI than was originally requested in the initial application.
yes, and why was that? Yes, it was, there was more basement area.
1.16 before, now it's
Yeah.
0.24.
That was the change in configuration due to the, that there was more basement area in the original version, and now it's,
Including basement in the FSI?
no, no. But the floor plan had full floors on the next two levels, so that the increased area was squashed into the upper level.
Any other questions, panel members? No? Okay, thank you. We're in committee, discussion or motion?
This is obviously much improved. If there's no further comments, I'm willing to. All right. I would move approval of the application as I believe it to be an appropriate development for the site and to reflect the intent of the zoning bylaw.
I'll second that, including the forest.
Improve
Subject
forestry.
to the forestry condition number 3, and what else was there? Right of way? No, that was advisory.
They withdrew. Okay, so it's a motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Ms. Omen for approval of the application, subject to forestry condition number 3. All in favor? Your application's approved. Thank you. And last but not least, and thank you for your patience, number 42, 1222 and 1224 Young Street. Committee has before it a copy of the minutes from the January 23rd public hearing, materials submitted for consideration, copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, email requesting rescheduling, covering letter from the agent, and a letter withdrawing the previous objection from Mr. Matlow, Councillor Matlow.
Okay.
Okay, did you have that letter?
I did get copies of the letter.
Did you get the letter from the councillor?
I did get the letter from the counselor. I included it in, I sent a letter
Oh,
to
yeah.
you yesterday, just including their letter.
Yes, okay.
And also an email from Neil.
We have that.
You have that, yeah.
Neil Abrahams. Yeah.
Neil Abraham, yes, thank you.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation or just questions? Okay, so any questions, panel members?
Yeah. Mr. Mato, the area that you want the restaurant to occupy is 395 square meters.
395 square meters, yes.
395 square meters. Isn't it the bylaw that it should be 150 square meters?
The bylaw, the new bylaw is 400 square meters.
400.
And there is an old exception from the old bylaw, which is also grandfathered into the new bylaw, that restricts just in this little area that restaurants be kept to 150 square meters.
So what are we dealing with here now? We have the restaurant to be kept to the 150 square meters, but you're making a request.
They want the restaurant to be 395 meters square.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want to fit as the new bylaw allows, notwithstanding that there's an exception from the old bylaw, which restricts it.
So why don't we have anything in this application?
Sorry? Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, why don't we have the change, the adoption of the new bylaw in this application? If you're trying to, attempting to fit that new bylaw.
Yeah, we are asking for that.
So 569 still has the restriction of the restaurant use, right?
Yes.
So you're saying the new bylaw, another bylaw doesn't have that? Both 43886.
No, he's saying that that restriction is specific to
That.
Young St. Clair.
That area, yes.
Directly
Correct.
south of St. Clair.
Yeah, this is because in the 80s, there was a huge club that was built across the street.
Yes.
It's a giant condominium now. But in the day when it was created, the neighborhood went crazy because there was this enormous bar that was built. And so this exception got put into the 43886 bylaw in order to restrict the size of restaurants. And it effectively killed any kind of restaurant development in this part of Yonge Street. It's very specific to St. Clair, to the train tracks.
But the bylaw 569 2013 says that your occupancy is based upon the 150 square meters. And you want to go beyond that. So show me where here we're addressing the 400 square meters that is in the new bylaw.
It's in chapter 40, 10, 20, 100. It allows eating establishments, which is what this is, of up to 400 square meters.
Yeah, so this is just a different chapter or section, if you will, of the bylaw that's specific to this particular area that this property falls in, whereas
That's correct. Correct. 400 is what the new bylaw wants.
For
everywhere
else.
Will
for everywhere
allow.
else.
unless
Yeah.
there's a specific
And-
area that says otherwise.
Unless there's an exception that says no,
And this was an exception.
and this was an exception.
You're asking for a variance from the exception to be allowed to do what others are
To be allowed to do what the bylaw would normally allow.
holistically would allow.
Yes, holistically, yes, correct.
So,
And we were deferred?
yes,
We were going to, so you understand all that?
Yeah, we've read all
Yeah.
that.
Okay, good.
Sounds like you've done a lot of talking with the community.
We had a great meeting with him. It was very encouraging.
Yeah, things are on the right track.
So you're in a situation where open communication will continue, and if there are issues, you're being prepared to discuss them.
Absolutely. The owners of this restaurant and the general manager, they want their neighbors to be their friends.
Customers.
They want them to be their customers.
Okay. Any other questions? I think we're in committee.
Okay.
Discussion or
Madam
motion?
Chair, I know the area well. I mean, it's a very busy area. I remember the club well. The name escapes me.
I can't
You were
remember
too
the name
drunk
now.
the last time you were in there, right?
Was it the Rose Hill nightclub?
I was too young.
But
I think it was the one up on Rose Hill, wasn't it?
I think that this is not unreasonable for the area. I mean, there are some other restaurants up and down Yonge Street, and it sounds, there's been some really productive discussions with the counselor and the community, and everybody's on side, and we feel that what's being proposed is going to work. So I would be prepared to move approval of the application as I feel it meets the four tests.
I will second that.
Okay, so that's a motion by Ms. Oman, seconded by Mr. Carlson for approval of the application. All in favor? Your application's approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. And we are adjourned at 5:07. Thank you.
We made it.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you.